What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Pandora's Box 2 Grand Finals action. That's exactly right. We are in the Grand Finals of the Pandora's Box 2 tournament here. You guys know the players, but let's introduce them. In the left-hand corner of the map, on his most favorite of Chinese, he's playing the Shenong, and his name is Kavoth. His opponent today, in the blue color, attempting to rewrite history. He did lose with this god on this map already in the winners finals. He gets one more shot, potentially two more shots actually. He gets one more shot at it here. His name is Tunison, and he is playing as Gaia. Now, last time, he went in with Leto. But the map was so obscenely good for Kavoth that he just couldn't manage to find the value in that one. Now we move on, and we see a different Atacama. This Atacama, as we do have some farms getting dropped down by Kavoth, he's sharing his silo with the berries as well for a little bit later. He's got himself the gold mine there to be jumping onto at some point, but take a look at his second town center. Take a look at his second town center. He does have himself some back food, but here's the thing. Tunison will not care about this. There's a forward gold mine. That's what Tunison cares about. We got gold mines onto the left side. We got gold mines onto the right side. And that's it. So this is a perfect opportunity for Tunison to run back, the salty run back, the Leto strategy. However, Tunison had so much success versus Recon's China the other day that he might be feeling that he should go for a Oceanus play here. Both are angles, both are options, both seem very, very strong for Tunison. On the side of Kavoth, however, the real question is, how do you just survive here? How do you get through it all? Because, I mean, if you go 2 TC and the Gaia goes 1 TC, then, well, now we just have to survive. We have to get to our gold mine and we're good. However, if our Gaia opponent goes 2 TC, what changes there? There's a really, really interesting strategy, and I don't know if Tunison is going to go for it. We're going to be seeing very, very shortly what his plan's going to be here. But there is a very, very interesting strategy inside of Leto that he's not going for. So I might not even bring it up. But the idea would be to go Leto, but go 2 TC. This gives you an option to get a really big economy. You're not having that sort of need to go and dominate your opponent and prevent him getting a second gold mine. We are going to be seeing that Oceanus, however, and it looks to me, and I could be wrong on this, but it looks to me like Tunison is indeed going for a fast second town center here. He doesn't have the best of second town centers. He does have himself the back zebra here, and this might, if we take a look at the actual map, this might be something here that Kavoth might read and say, you know what? Let's play a one town center aggro game here, because this makes a lot of sense against the Tunison map, if Tunison is going to be playing for 2 TCs here. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. We've got a lot of villagers on gold already. The gold is already moving up to 350. Kavoth, he's got his game plan. He's going to be attempting to make it work. Neither player can really deny a second town center, but one thing that Tunison was able to do yesterday versus Recon was he was able to get max value out of a Carnivora early on. He had his Oracle placed up on the second town center, such that he could just click it immediately and then start causing damage there. Now, Kavoth, I don't think he's going to fall for that. I think he's going to have his Pioneer over there early, as we do see the town center getting dropped for Tunison. Now, the most important thing here when playing 2 TC gameplay is, can I get onto my second gold mine early or not? Can I get onto my second gold mine early or not? If we can get on to the second gold mine, then we should. So this is going to really just depend on what our main man Kavoth is going to go for. As we do see the Terma coming through. Tunison's plan here is he's got to heroize those Terma. They're going to be taking a little bit of damage as the citizens are going to be under attack here. He pulls them back, turning them into heroes right away as the villager will turn around and start shanking over here. And Kvothe is going to be getting out of here in the main base for the time being. We still haven't seen Kvothe actually make his way over to the town center just yet. He's been playing more of that waiting game first and foremost. Meanwhile, over here, the Terma heroes, well, one Terma hero is out. The Yachts are going to be getting pacified as the town center is going to be getting started, but no Carnivora this time from Tunison. With 3 Kwafu and a couple of Pioneers, it's going to be tough to get that value in as Tunison is making his way up to this position right now. He wants to get in there with the Terma to snipe the Pioneers, to get the Carnivora down, to get some damage onto that town center. However, it's just, I don't think it's going to be happening. I don't see him getting all too much value here, as Kvothe is going to get away with his second town center. He's going to be able to get onto his second gold mine. And this is going to start a very spicy game here, as the 2 Terma will struggle to hit the Pioneer if controlled well. And Kvothe does do so well. He pulls back, no problems. Town center up. Terma moving away. And the Kwafu will also want to move for this gold mine. Now, if you're Tunison here and you notice this, I think at the very least, we should be getting some units out and we should be putting some pressure onto this town center, onto this position here. You see the Thea coming through, but it's not super important to get there really fast. It's more important to find value with your units, as Kvothe drops the military camp and he's actually going for the fastest of tower attachments here to defend this. Now, this doesn't really do a whole lot here for Kvothe. The reason being is the Caladria exists. So Tunison, if he really wants to here, he can get himself out 2, 3, 4 extra. How much do these cost? I can't remember. Is it 15? 12. He can get himself nearly 4 Caladria out. And if there's not going to be any units over here, well, all of a sudden, Tunison can just charge in, not take a lick of damage, clean up the gold mine, and then be looking to spread that lush from one side of the map to the other and look to basically deny a second gold mine here, even though Kvothe is already on the position. Now Tunison makes his way forward. He's going to be looking for any amount of damage that he can find. He sees the Shenong farm. I like this move. Take the Shenong farm down. It's exposed. This is not the best of silo positions. I gotta laugh at that one. This is not the best of silo positions from Kvothe, and he does get punished for it here, as the Dao Swordsman getting pacified up a little bit. We've got those Terma coming through. That will be a dead Pioneer here, unless Kvothe can dodge, and he can keep that one alive for the time being, as one Shenong farm is down. Watchtowers is researched, and Kvothe now going to be dropping a machine workshop, as he's very aware that Tunison is looking for that aggressive early game. Now, up onto the top side, walls coming through here for Kvothe. He's just going to be trying to lock up potentially this hunt, as well as, I mean, there's not really much here with the water, but lock up the hunt and still trying to get to that next stage. He's still pumping out Kwafu. He's still playing defense. He's still just trying to react. And Tunison here says, you know what? We ain't going for no Thea in this game. We're going for Rhea. This is very, very different to what we saw yesterday from the Tunison versus Recon game. Of course, this is Shenong, a different god in of itself, but this is so different here. This game is in a very, 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 very different position. Tunison going Rhea basically means that he's going to have some super infantry, and that's most specifically going to be some super destroyers here, you'd have to assume. He's also going to be having himself the Bite of the Shark. He's also going to be having himself the Frontline Heroics. He's also going to be having those medium infantry. He's getting himself the Shaft Mine as well. I wouldn't mind him going straight to tier 3 eco upgrades in this position as well, because the chances of you actually being able to blow up this position against Kvothe with Fey Beasts, I think is quite low. So take the advantage of Kvothe playing so defensive and grab all your eco ups. Go straight to tier 3 gold, tier 3 wood. At the moment, Tunison, he's got himself only tier 1 of everything. He's now going to tier 2 gold. and we'll see if he can continue to push this and make it better. He's going to be dropping the palace down. I love the slow play here from Tunison, but he does need to be thinking aggressive at some point, as Kavoth is like, I've got to defend my wood. Fundamental play in the finals. You love to see it. The walls coming up, everything getting defended for the time being. Remember, the weakness of the Chinese army is their speed. The strength of the Gaia army is their speed. So in order to take away his strength, you have to put walls down. And that's exactly what Kavoth does here. Meanwhile, we've got the Orichalcum male. We do have some medium Contarius coming through, and the Atlas is the Mythic Age god of choice here for Tunis, and he's just got it pre-queued just in case he forgets, apparently. But that's his game plan. He's going to be looking for a big boom at some point here. With the Fey Beast coming through, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kavoth just say, hey, I can just drop this and kill all these units if he wants to, but he does pull back. Still going to be playing defense here for the time being. No ballet up just yet, as the units immediately coming through are going to be Zhang Xia. We also see a Sage, Dao Swordsman, all of the defense in the world. We do have tier 3 gold coming through for Tunison, which is going to be a huge boost to his gold income. And I think, and I could be wrong, this does look like a fast or a semi-fast mythic here, which is really smart considering how turtly Kavoth is playing. Meanwhile, we are going to have just the tiniest little bit of raids over here, as First Blood looks like it might be getting drawn here at the 12th minute. One peasant does end up going down. Tunison is out of here, up onto the top side, just getting some more of those hippos. No Town Center coming through, just it's all a lie. Town Center now going to be coming through, as Tunison says, I see you playing heavy defense. I see you getting upgrades. I see you doing what you're doing. Let's allow that to happen, because I think, and I could be wrong on this, I think Tunison feels like the late game here for Gaia is going to be enough, so long as he gets into the right position. However, Kavoth has an inkling that something is up here. We do have the trader coming through. The Tao Wu going to dive in onto this spot. The Tao Wu coming back over onto this spot. That will go down. And Tunison is out of here. But he's at 150 pop. His town center over here does get denied. There's a couple of fanatics actually coming through, with Tunison deciding he's going to get himself his fanatic upgrade from the palace. Makes the palace train stuff quicker and all the other good stuff, as the town center over here is still coming up. 15 seconds is a big timing here for Kavoth to come through. The Carnivora will get dropped down, and I think this town center is just denied, as Tunison makes a big blunder here, as the units are going to come through up for Tunison. He's got a handful of hero units to try and deal with the Fey Beast. There is also lightning weapons as well, and immediately Tunison will start pulling back. There goes those Fey Beasts, as they're going to get slapped down by the hero units. Does manage to take them all out without losing all too much here, so that's going to be a big win for him. Fighting underneath two palaces can't be a great idea for Kavoth here at the moment, so Kavoth will wisely say, let's just pull back. Let's just pull back. I think Tunison has dealt with the worst of it. Fey Beasts down. Lightning weapons down. He can probably say, I'll just build Arcus, or I'll just build some wood-based units to hold, and I'll go for the Mythic Age. But instead, he says, no. Let's stay heroic. Let's spam units. Let's get upgrades. We take a look. Him staying in the heroic age does give him a slight advantage. Not even a slight advantage. It's a pretty big advantage if both players stay in the heroic age, and that advantage is in tier 3 upgrades. Now, that being said, I'm not sure the Gaia citizens are I'm not sure they're gathering faster than 100 population economy of China with tier 2 upgrades. Not really sure. Up onto the top side. Kavoth hanging out. We've got some more Contarius starting to come through. We've got some more destroyers on the way here. Now Kavoth popping out. Got those hero units popping in over here. And a big fight right now for Tunison, as Kavoth is technically out of position here. These fanatics, by all intents and purposes, should be able to completely dominate these medium, now heavy infantry. The Terma taking out the fire archers needs to be their first, second, third port of call, but Tunison isn't focus firing them. Tunison's not focus firing the fire archers with his Terma, and his fanatics are getting absolutely dominated by the fire archers, which just should not be happening. They're finally starting to fall down. We got 2.4k for Tunison to 3.5k military for Kavoth, and Kavoth does manage to hold that fight there as Tunison will slowly start to peel back. Citizens also going to be pulling back. We've got ourselves the irrigation technology in for Tunison as well for a little bit more economy. Town center is up on the back here for Kavoth as well, so he has managed to get himself to his own 3 town centers, but this isn't that important because both players are at 100 villages. Of course, Tunison will need his own town center, and I love this move. Destroyers making their way up here, going for the main base. Kontaria is going to be looking for raids, but the main base is going to be under siege for Tunison, and he's got a lot of farms in here at the moment. Now, how well can you actually defend this while putting on the pressure is the big question. Kontaria is swinging around onto this side, going to be looking to hit the villages over here. Destroyers going for the main town center of Kavoth as well. However, Kavoth here can very simply just start taking down this town center too. Kontaria is charging around here. We do have the Baihu getting stolen, but then gets stuck inside of the trees there, as we have got ourselves the terracotta soldiers coming through to try and deal with this destroyer raid, but the town center will get destroyed. A huge Qinglong spawn here for Kavoth, but all those destroyers go down. The town center also goes down, so not the worst of trades, as on the front here, Tunison does manage to take an amazing fight, and he pushes Kavoth back, so he gets the town center kill, he gets the fight win, and he takes a town center behind this as well, as Kavoth is now looking like he's in a lot of trouble. His population drops down to 135 here. The fanatics should be able to dominate these Dao swordsmen. They've got themselves Bite of the Shark. They've got themselves the Orichalcum Male. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in for the devotees of Atlas in the Mythic Age as well for super fanatic, as we do have now another Baihu coming through. The trader is not available for Tunison at the moment, as the Qinglong going to be dropping its special in here, but this doesn't matter that much. With just the one, it's never a big problem. A couple of Arcus heroes going to come through. That's going to start dealing with this, as the ballet will get taken down. Meanwhile, over onto this left side, Tunison is doing the smartest thing he possibly can here. He is taking away gold mines from Kavoth. Gold mine here, gold mine here, gold mine here, and all of a sudden, this is the only one that Kavoth has left. If Tunison can set that all up. Kavoth has lost himself his ballet. He's lost himself his footing in this game. After an impressive start, he has been put incredibly on the back foot. Qinglong pulling back for the time being. We've got ourselves the Terracotta Riders coming out. They're going to be getting dealt with incredibly quickly. Do we see Tunison making a move over here? I want to see that gold mine secured with a palace as soon as possible. Dao Swordsman coming through. 3 Baihu in queue here. A desperation attempt from Kavoth to actually just spend his resources because he just doesn't have that much gold. He loses the town center over onto this side. Citizens are going to be moving up onto the gold mine over here, as these units just trickling in are just dying one after the other. You can't send in an army like this versus the full population Gaia up onto the top side. Little bits of damage over here, but this is not going to do all too much. The main base is yet again under attack. We do have a Hundun in, as well as the Baihu to defend this, so the town center will survive here. But Tunison, he doesn't need to actually kill this. He just needs to be distracting. He's about to take the gold out on this side as well, and all of a sudden, Kavoth goes from half a gold mine to 0 gold mines as more destroyers are making their way in. The Baihu does get stolen away here. Does this Baihu has a special? He has a special, but not using it here as another Baihu coming in an attempt to hold this town. And Kavoth is desperately trying to hold on, but it's a matter of time for him to have 0 gold. The Kwafu are going to be moving back home. There is the tiniest bit of gold, 219 here. No gold mine on this side. As the temple falls, that means no more Baihu for Kavoth here. He's got 1 town center remaining. He's got himself not much hope left in this game. And all of a sudden, Tunison marches forward with another palace to stamp his domination of this game. Meanwhile, Kavoth will make a sneaky move. Nope, he's not going to make a sneaky move. He's got a best of 9 ahead of him. He knows when he's lost. Tunison manages to take game 1 here. In a very, very back and forth game 1 as well. Tunison making a mistake, Kavoth making a mistake, Tunison making a mistake, Kavoth making a mistake. And it just, that tug of war in this first game is exactly what you can be expecting here, ladies and gentlemen, from these two players. An amazing display here from Tunison, and the mental is clearly there. He was beaten into a bloody pulp by Kavoth yesterday. However, I think he's been reignited from that moment. Kavoth gonna have to take that deep breath, go, I just lost one of my power picks. This is one of his best gods. Shenong, China, these are where he gets his wins in these tournaments. Losing this pick and not getting a win with the Shenong is very, very, very tough for Kavoth. Let's jump over to the draft and see what we're going to see for game number 2. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going in onto the map Gorge. And we're going to be seeing one of my favorite matchups out there. We've got the best god in the game, Oranos, going up against the other best god in the game, Set. A absolute fireworks display set to appear here, as well as Kavoth's Oranos as well. I've been hyping up his China, but he does come from a place that, how do I say this? He comes from I don't know exactly how to say this. He comes from Gaia as his actual main from Legacy. But he did decide to move away from Gaia in favor of playing Oranos. So he's played so much Oranos that in Legacy that he knows the ins and outs of it. However, the problem is that Legacy Oranos and Retold Oranos is so different. And you've really got to turn off your Legacy brain with Oranos in Retold. And the question is, has Kavoth managed to do that or not after this amount of time? After this amount of time. That's the big question. That's what I want to know. So, Oranos versus Set, let's talk about it. What are the ins and outs? Well, Set's strength is going to be barracks units. Oranos' strength is going to be able to deal with barracks units through Hyperion. That's the big secret. That's the big deal with the whole thing. So, does this mean that Tunison here actually needs to start thinking about going for Migdol units? If he sees Hyperion, maybe he goes into some Migdol units instead. There is this idea of potentially going Spearman Chariot Archer here as the set, but that's still got its own issues against Oranos. Oranos on Gorge as well is an incredible god because you've got the sides of the map, which are very spread out. You do have a short distance between your base and the enemy base, but a Set army probably isn't going to be able to bust an Oranos base all too often, especially if the Oranos is scouting well and sees is the Set player going for a big push or not, right? Beyond all of that, even if the Set player does decide to go for a big push, there's a lot of delay actions that you can kind of make happen here. There's a lot of delay actions that they can kind of make happen. So, I mean, Sky Passage is everywhere. That being said, there is also the cheap shifting sands that's also available for set. Well, this has recently been buffed. It used to be a 50 favor recast cost. Now it's a 40 favor recast cost. So it's been buffed, which will mean that you can try and deal with some Sky Passages a little bit easier. You can try and catch your opponent out a few more times for a little bit cheaper. But if you do that, you're not going to be able to get yourself those myth units. That being said, myth units versus Oranos, there are situations where they're very good, but there are a lot more situations where they are very bad. So you really need to know the ins and outs of this to go, should I be building some Scorpion Men? Should I be building some Anubites, some Wadgets, to really understand like what's going on? But the thing is here that Tunison, and I haven't brought this up just yet, Tunison is an Oranos main in the sense that he knows Oranos probably better than most other people out there. So he's playing against a god that he knows better than his opponent knows it. That's what I'm trying to say. But he's on set. And that's the thing. Like, does he understand where Oranos goes wrong versus set? And I will have to wait and see, because this is going to be an absolute cracker. For those of you who are watching from the Age of Empires 4 scene, you'll be very, very aware of what this map is. It is Gorge. It is very similar to the Age of Empires 4 Gorge. And so a little bit of comfort for you guys. This has produced some of my favorite games in this tournament so far from a macro perspective. A lot of macro games here, a lot of strategic games as well. A lot of like rushing games have also happened on this map. It's been very, very varied. But, you know, at this point in the tournament, how crazy do you want to go? Recon was going very crazy in his series, but he didn't end up making it. Do you go crazy here? Is there a crazy strategy from set? Do some sort of one talent center all in? Or are you going to play a little bit more slow and try and rely on something different here? Well, we're going to have to wait and see as we're moving into game number 2. Very, very shortly. We're still dealing with the game not wanting to load for me. Give me a hot second here as we get this one going. Okay, off we go. In onto the next map, onto Gorge. Let's check it out. And off we go, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 here. Tunison spawns in, up 1-0 right now. He's on his set. He's misplacing his mining camp, but he fixes it up. It's not the end of the world, but he's good to go. Kavoth on the bottom spawns in with his pride and joy, the Oranos. He's been trying to make this god work for the longest time, and he has found a lot of unique ways to play this god. He sort of brought to the circuit, so to speak. He managed to win an incredible game. If you didn't see it, I recommend to go back and watch it afterwards. It was Oranos versus Poseidon, Kavoth versus Divine in the early rounds, where Kavoth unlocked the potential of the Arcus by mixing in Helios's Centamanus, the Heca Gigantes, en masse, and it was incredible to watch. But we'll see what he's going to be able to find here in this game. Let's check out the relics and see what's going to happen. Over on the bottom side, we have ourselves the Ulla's Bow. This is going to be max range of range attacks +1. Over onto this side, we've got ourselves the Trojan Gate Hinge. Hit points +40% there for the walls. Up onto the top side, we've got ourselves the Tearfing Angantir's Sword. Lifesteal from units +10%. Over onto this side, we have ourselves the Scarab Pendant, which is +20% of base there for the Behemoth, Scarab, Mountain Giant, Colossus, Tower, etc., 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 as well as Siege. So, the big question here is, Do you go fast second town center here? Do you play a 1 town center game as set? Do you try and get your walls up? Do you try and lock the Oranos player in place? Does the Oranos player go for Prometheus? Does he go for Oceanus? Both are definitely valid options in this matchup. Do you go for a huge amount of Prometheans here? Do you go for a huge amount of Hero Citizens here? Do you go for a huge amount of Murmillo? Do you do some sort of semi-fast heroic? There's actually so many different lines to take that it's absolutely ridiculous. It almost doesn't matter which way you want to go, because they're all so strong, and they're so strong for both gods here. The strategic variety in these two gods is off the chains. All right, we're about to see at least the first little glimpse into how this game is going to go. Temple is finished for Tunison. Is it Anubis? Is it Ptah? Two very, very different gods that play very, very differently. Anubis much more aggressive. You've got the Anubites to use. Ptah a little bit more defensive, a little bit more control orientated. We see the Ptah. We see the Ptah for our main man, Tunison. Kavoth, on the other hand, he doesn't care about a fast advance here. He's going incredibly slow. And he picks Prometheus. Now, I'm not surprised about the Prometheus. I think this is an incredible choice for Kavoth. But the question is what to do behind this. There is this ridiculously powerful way to play with Prometheus, with Oranos here, which is effectively we're just going to be using as many valors as we can onto Citizen. And then we're going to also get ourselves out the Theft of Fire, unique technology from Prometheus. And our economy is going to go absolute kaboom. Meanwhile, a second monument coming through for Tunison. He gets himself his free units out with the animals of Set, the Wadgets. And behind this, it's looking like it will be a classical fight. Now, there is a world here where Tunison is actually going to go for a fast heroic, but a fake fast heroic, like a fake classical fight, but a fast heroic. Because here's the thing. It's very, very tough for Kavoth to actually scout what's going on here. Tunison scouts what's going on very easily. He's got the Vat Vision. He's got himself Animals of Set to scout around the map. He can also put obelisks up all around the map too, and then all the other good stuff. Now, Kavoth here, he's getting himself Theft of Fire. He's coming over onto the left side with the sneakiest of sky passages you'll ever see. It's out in the corner. We see the Baboon of Set coming in. Will this be spotted? Answer? I don't think so. He's checking everywhere but this spot. Back up onto the town center to just make sure that's not coming through. Theft of Fire is going to be in as we see a counter barracks for Kavoth. Now, here's the problem. Tunison is up to no good. I was telling you, well, I was asking the question, do you do crazy stuff here in the finals? Or do you play stock standard solid defense? Tunison says we're doing crazy stuff here in the finals. He's doing a light classical fight with the spearman coming through. And he's going heroic age. This is an attempt to fake that he's playing classical fight. Fake fake to make your opponent build too many Caraballister. We see one in queue here actually from Kavoth, so it is working. A second one actually in queue here, so this is working. Up onto the top here, this sky passage still hasn't been spotted by the monkey, by the black bear, or anything. And we now got Sekhmet coming through. Now, the plan here for Tunison is very, very simple. He wants to get in. He wants to drop a Migdol in Kavoth's face, and he wants to make Kavoth's life very, very tough. Now, Kavoth here, lots and lots of resources in the bank. If Kavoth has the wrong read on this position, on this strategy, which is very real for him to have, we see the spearmen still running around, but it's only 3. And that's got to set off alarm bells for Kavoth here. There's only 3 spearmen. We see the armory coming up as the spearmen are going to be bailing out. This has got to be setting off alarm bells. So he's got to know that Tunison is up to no good. The question is, do you spam units here in an attempt to maybe try and stop a forward Migdol? Do you allow the forward Migdol and play maybe a more like bait and switch type move where we're just leaving and we just pull back later? What's the answers here? A couple of axemen coming out. Heroic Age about to hit here for our main man Tunison as he's going to be ready to make a little something happen. But where does he go? All the units popping out. We've got the giraffes are set. We've got the scarab. Giraffes and the animals are going to move over here as the citadel is going to come down. At this moment here now, Kavoth knows this is a fast heroic. And Kavoth now going to be heading to the Heroic Age as he does drop down military barracks around his town center. And a Hyperion is coming through. Does he have hero units though? The answer is no. He pops them out and he knows that there's potential for scarabs. As some Mermilla heroes getting converted very, very early on here. Another military barracks coming through. More units starting to pile in here. This is as all in as it gets. Tunison is reminding me a little bit of myself here with this type of a move, and Kavoth is well and truly prepared for it as the Karabalista hero is out. One citizen does end up going down. The Scarabs are going to try and take out the military barracks over here as these Mermilla heroes, they need to stay alive. They can dive through the town center and get out over here and start taking down the Scarabs, but they're very low HP. The front units have gone down. The Mermilla heroes almost falling. But Kavoth manages to survive. Kavoth manages to survive. One Mermilla hero is down. Another military barracks comes in. Over onto this side, Black Bear's getting taken out, and Kavoth is ready to continue as Tunison will now move back in for a little bit more shenanigans. Siege Tower. Sentry Tower goes down, and we do see a Chaos get dropped in onto this position as the Scarabs will go after each other for such a long time. Look at that damage. We got the priest at the very least trying to heal these guys up as the hero Karabalista will come in and try and make this a little bit more painful as both Scarabs will end up going down to that chaos. A huge amount of value here for Kavoth in that moment. So for those of you who don't understand, where you go, why doesn't my chaos last for 13 seconds? Well, the reason why that is chaos lasts for longer based on how many units it affects. In that case, it affected 2 Scarabs and 2 Scarabs alone. So it lasted for a very, very long time. Meanwhile, up onto this side, Manners, Sky Passages coming in as the Camel Riders are going to start making their way over here. We got ourselves more Satyr coming through. The Arcus also on the way. One thing here that Kavoth's got to be somewhat careful about is ensuring that he has the right counter army. So whether he builds Catapultis, Murmillos, Contarius, Arcus, it does really matter what your opponent is building in this position. After seeing these Camel Riders, you do have to start thinking, okay, we better get some Catapultis in the mix, and that's exactly what Kavoth is going for. He comes in, gets a little bit more damage over here, but he's got to be careful. His Contarius are slower than those Camel Riders, so he's going to be bailing out for the time being. Now Kavoth going to start building up his favor income. Some more oracles are going to slowly start sneaking out around the map. And this follow-up push here from Tunison is now starting to come through. But look at this army from Kavoth. This does not look like an easy army to push for the moment. But the other big problem is Chaos is up in 60 seconds. So Tunison wants to make something happen before that Chaos comes back up. Of course, we do have to wait for potentially 60 favor. And I don't think that's going to come in as the hero unit's continuously getting converted and his favor is getting spent. So I actually prefer this from Kavoth's perspective because those myth units are going to be very, very powerful for him. But Tunison has to be feeling, I got to get something done to play around that second Chaos. In actuality, he doesn't really, but still. Over onto this side, one Baboon of Set going to be attempting his hardest task of this game, which is to kill off an Oracle. As the Oracle will simply just run away, one hero Mermilla gets brought over to deal with this, and we do have onto the bottom side of the map here, the Camel Riders searching, and this Oracle in such a safe position, so out of sight, out of mind there, that Tunison will have to pull back. No good there. Now, behind all of this, I'm really interested in how many Holy, does he have, am I going crazy? He only got 6 hero citizens. I thought he had more than that for some reason. There is a really big power play here that Kavoth can go for once he stabilizes, which is he can start actually heroizing his own citizen manually. Of course, it's very, very expensive, but he's already got an advantage. So he can convert that advantage into a bigger advantage by investing into those hero citizens if he wants to. But for the moment here, it looks like Kavoth is just saying, let's go for the myth unit approach, spend all of our favor on myth units and heroes, and we'll make it work from there. Up onto this side, Kontari's raid comes through as a shockwave will get dropped. It's a big shockwave. Does kick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 villages here on that raid as well. That's kind of huge, as some catapult is actually going to come up to be a bit of a defensive threat here potentially against the camel riders. And the satyr gets in and hits the villagers. A huge amount of damage there. And the camel riders actually just need to pull back. There's no sense in defending this position as all the villagers are gone. And Tunison is now behind only by 10 villagers here, which seems a little bit on the low side, considering that Kavoth has got some kills here, but still. Vision coming in. Is this going to be another Shifting Sands? Surely not. Surely not. All the units coming back in here for Kavoth. He's got so many. Everything coming in. The sky passages in. The units on this spot here. All popping through. Can he defend this or not? There's no siege. The Scarab comes in over onto this side. What is this decision from Tunison? The priests are on top of the satyr. That's so huge. But the camel riders aren't doing anything over on this side. More units now coming in for Kavoth here as he pops through the sky passage away from the priests. And Tunison taps out as Kavoth claims game number 2. What an impeccable display of awareness here from Kavoth. He was inside Tunison's brain from the start of this game to the end. Not from the start of this game, maybe at about 6 or 7 minutes. It clicked. What is Tunison's plan here? It clicked for Kavoth. Tunison's plan is, let's Shifting Sands and try and kill off his town center with a bit of a surprise with the Scarab. And Kavoth just goes, I got a defense for this. Let me just put some buildings around my town center and we're good to go. And then Tunison saw it. He saw the buildings. He still decided he wanted to go for it. And Kavoth aptly stopped him. And then it was just, let's play good defense from there. Tunison realizes he's falling further and further and further and further behind with no real attempt, no real way to pull back in. He goes for a crazy all-in attempt. Does not work out. And Kavoth levels the series 1-1 here, ladies and gentlemen. Well then, back to the draft. Let's see what they're going to pick for game number 3. Alrighty, we are going in onto Frozen Continent, and I want to see Tunison throw something different at us here. Oh, we're getting a salty run back. I love a good salty run back. Who doesn't love a good salty run back? We got Zeus, we got Thor, we got Frozen Continent. Who doesn't love a good salty run back? There's nothing better than a good salty run back. Am I right? Or am I wrong? I'm right, right? Right? Wrong? I might be. I don't know. I think I'm right. Okay, so Kavoth here is, I would say, as well practiced in this matchup as anyone could possibly be. Do you want to know why? His practice partner is El Matador, and El Matador is arguably the best Thor player on the circuit right now. Arguably, he's one of the few Thor players that consistently gets wins with the god in tournament, and well, not few, but he is one of the players that consistently gets wins with Thor in the tournament, and he's been playing against Kavoth quite a bit with that Thor. Zeus is a pick here that I think Kavoth is very, very, very well equipped to use, and he has an incredible style with this Thor. With this Zeus. He's so good at the let's attack over there, let's attack over there, let's attack over here. Let me explain what I think the right play here for Tunison is. I think he has a perfectly good game plan in just get himself his docks, get himself the early pressure, and get off on the right foot. But last time he played this, he tried to sneak a heroic age. I think he needs to stay classical age, and I think he needs to mass out Valkyrie. Take all the fights that Kavoth is giving him and get those Valkyrie in, because that gives him a raiding threat that the Zeus player can't deal with without walls, which is very difficult to do. And it gives him an answer to Toxotes, which is another amazing thing. Nonetheless, guys, let's get into game. I didn't out of sync? No, I did. It just keeps happening. I don't understand why. It only happens some of the time, but this time it's happening every single game. Anyways, off we go into game number 3. Kavoth versus Tunison. Tunison going to try and make this one work. We're going into the map Frozen Continent. Let's check it out. And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. The bottom left of the map, Tunison does decide to go for the dock. No surprises here. It's a little bit late, actually. I think he did decide to herd some animals at the start or something. I'm not exactly sure. On the top side here, Kavoth here, just going to be doing the same thing with his own Katoskopos. Herds in a couple of Sero, pops over onto the wood, pops up to the top to grab a dock, and he's going to go for multiple docks early on. We saw this yesterday. I'm sorry. But sometimes the salty run back is really worth a view. The salty run back is my favorite concept. For those of you who don't know, let's just we'll go into the Super Smash Brothers universe. This is where it comes from. Super Smash Brothers. We got Boit and Boit's mate playing some Super Smash Brothers 64 way back when. We would sit there, we would duke it out in our silly games, and whoever lost was very upset, and we would say salty run back. I don't think it's just us that say this. I think everyone says it, but salty run back, where you're absolutely peeved at the fact that you lost the game because your opponent was doing some dirty shenanigans, and you were doing all of the mad combos but not winning. That's the concept here. So Tunison is peeved he lost with his Thor. Oop, little bit of shanky shanks. A little bit of shanky shanks. Tunison is peeved, and he wants that salty run back to prove that, no, I can get this dub with the Thor here. Watch me do it. Watch me do it. All right, let's check out some relics. On and around the map, we've got Cathara of Apollo, plus 10% move speed for the villagers. We've got the Wuhao Bow of Huang Di. This is going to be range attack set to 85% for 2 seconds. Or a little bit of the, what I mean by that is the movement speed of those units that get hit will get slowed by a tiny bit. Up here, we've got the Nose of the Sphinx. Actually, that relic over there, this one here is huge for Kavoth if he grabs that. His Toxotes will become a menace for Norse to deal with. Over we've got the Titan's Treasure. This is going to make the minor gods cost 10% less. Over onto this side, we have ourselves the Archimedes' Ledger, which is siege population usage -1. Onto the bottom side here, we have Black Lotus, which is going to be a little bit of farm boosting. Not the most use here with all of the docks and the food that comes in there, as well as all of the hunt as well. As a temple coming down for Tunison, he actually decides 2 docks this time. 2. Not 3, but 2. Very, very interesting. Okay. So he's gone for a little bit more of an aggressive opening or something. He's got the wood in the bank to go drop another dock down. And I imagine he's going to send the Berserk over there. The problem is we're playing against Zeus. If you go for Freya, your Valkyrie will inevitably get bolted immediately. So any sort of early game aggression ends up becoming a little bit lackluster. Of course, you can build a whole bunch of... You can build a whole bunch of Ursa and try and make it happen. But it does become just that little bit lackluster here. Now we have the Freya coming through. Onto the other side, we've got Kavoth dropping a temple. As he is a little bit behind the 8 ball, he's getting himself his docks up. Now, I think what Tunison needs to focus on here is he needs to focus on denying docks. So sending a Hursa over onto the left side, a Berserk over onto the right side, and just find these villages because it's guaranteed damage. Running into the main base here doesn't actually make a huge amount of sense when your opponent is risking life and limb for a little bit of fish. So if he sends those guys around there, he should be good. A couple of wall segments coming up to defend these towers, as this has been one of those things that I think Kavoth managed to get a lot of value against in the last game that they played. So Tunison is adapting here. He's trying to get this all defended, worked up. He's got 400 wood in the bank at the moment. As a Berserk checking things out over here. This Katoskopos is in range, or has spotted it. Was you see a dock coming up over onto this side? I don't like this dock. I want to see him go all the way up until he sees the red docks and then start working his way backwards. That way he could potentially find a villager. But that's not what Tunison's doing. Another dock coming down over onto this side, as he's going to be able to catch up to the Kavothian docks, as he's got himself 8 already. Tunison only 5, as we did say the bolt there will come in onto the Valkyrie as she gets splattered and is now dead. Double Military Academy coming through for Kavoth at the moment as well, as he's going to be looking to put some pressure onto the front. And we see the Olympian parentage as well as Heracles coming through, as this is going to be able to put some nice early game pressure on. Dwarven Armory coming through for Tunison as well, as he's just trying to get himself fully set up in this game. But everything that he's doing, it feels like, is just taking so much time. So much time here, as a Berserk now coming around onto the back, searching for things here. We do see the Minotaur searching for a potential Berserk over here. Love that move from Kavoth, as he was searching for this bad boy, but a Hursa should be making its way around here to get these dock positions too. With the armory up, all of a sudden you can start going in for some armory upgrades, which gives you a couple more villages to play with, which gives you a little bit of an advantage. Of course, Kavoth has the fishing ship, so he's fine there too, as these hoplites will start to come through. And we do have ourselves an attempt at the forest fire ghost building. Does not quite work out. And Kavoth is out of there. Tunison is back. Unfortunately, 0 kills for his Berserk, as he runs away with a little bit of blood in his back of his head, but he is good to go. Meanwhile, Hoplite's now going to start tearing down docks. This has been something very stock standard here. We've got the market up already. Great haul. I could be wrong, but this is looking like Tunison is trying to get to the heroic age much quicker than last game. This gives himself an extra 3,000 gold in his main base. But Kavoth here, he's going to be spamming units. He's got a whole bunch of hoplites. He's got restoration. He can take out a town center if Tunison is not prepared. But I don't think he's quite got enough stuff here to make that work just yet. There's a Minotaur going to be getting brought back. This Berserk over here getting chased away. And I think we're going to see the big headbutt coming in, as this Berserk is no longer with us. Oh, never mind. Is with us. Somehow manages to survive that. And then gets smacked twice and explodes. Fantastic. Over onto this bottom side, we've got the hoplite now coming in. We got the villagers here for Tunison. He's going to have to be very quick on this reaction if he doesn't want to lose anything. He's getting attacked all over the place, so he's got to be staring at the minimap. He does notice it eventually there. He gets away. Is he going to drop a villager? I think 1 kill at the very least is going to be coming in. Oh, yep, 1 villager down. The rest managed to get back into the town center. He can move over onto this side. Way more safe to be here than to be here, but he does decide to move back in there, and Kavoth is out of there. Kavoth also clicking up through Dionysus as another great haul to come down. And now the heroic age is in. Dwarven Mine will be able to get dropped down. Temple getting poked down for the moment. And Kavoth sees his opportunity to strike, as there just isn't... There's no throwing axeman here. there's just no throwing axemen here for Tunison. Losing that temple is so bad. As one dwarf goes down, one gatherer goes down, and Tunison now back into his town center. He's in a hole in this game. The Hearse are coming over to at least push those hoplites away. Tunison, at the very least, he's got himself a dwarven mine. Watchtowers comes through, and his turtle is now going to be started. You can probably afford 50 favor for another dwarven mine at some point here. But he's basically going to be stuck in this main base for a very, very long time as the docks are slowly going to get cleaned up. Over here, the heroic age is going to be in for Kavoth. He can go basically straight into Peltast as well. He doesn't need to make Toxotes in this situation. Tunison is deciding to go straight for Jarls and throwing Axon and now starting to come through. He's got to get his buildings out and sort of deal with this. His losing all these villages actually ended up with him being basically equal on the villager count after all is said and done with the Dwarven Armory situation as the Hersa pop around here, and that Minotaur does manage to sneak away here as Tunison is searching for it, but it is out of here. Going for the main base. Is there any Hersa in this main base here? They're all moving to the right as Kavoth did give him the old 1-2 there. As he charges into this main base, going to be looking to hit those dwarves, cause some idle time. A Hersa over here will be enough to deal with this as the dwarves will have to garrison. And the docks can get placed back in over here, up onto the top side. Hoplites trying to break through over here as well. These wall segments have really been key here, I think, for Tunison to completely defend his base. Now, you can break the wall segments down. They're only 300 HP. You kill one off, and I think then all the wall segments around it start to die. I think they might lose 50% of their HP, or they take 150 HP, and then the second wall segment that goes down will be the end of that defense there. But so far, so good here for Tunison. I don't think he's in a terrible position. He's lost a lot of ground, but he's okay. Kavoth, on the other hand, I don't think he's in a terrible position either. Battle Ball going for a little bit of a raid onto the villages here as the Heracles is going to be coming in, and the Battle Ball is going to get pulled back. I think what I want to see here from Kavoth is to not overcommit too much to this classical age push. I could be wrong on this, and it looks like he is going for a very big push here, but don't commit too much to the classical fight. A big fight over here coming in. It's flaming weapons. You just run. Just run. Just because you click flaming weapons, you don't have to take the fight, but he's going for it here. Throwing Axeman, getting some good damage, but the Peltast on the back here, getting even more damage. As can Tunison actually win this fight or not is the big question. Bronze does actually beat flaming weapons. And of course it beats flaming weapons when you've also got a restoration. Where flaming weapons has the advantage is you can hit multiple different places, and Tunison just loses everything. The great bait of Thor will forever be flaming weapons. An amazing god power in of itself, but you do not have to fight if your opponent also clicks their god powers. Just move back into your main base and you're good to go. I don't know why he took that fight. He's now got himself 91 favor. All he needed was 50. Now he can place another Dwarven Mine here, and his economy can continue to grow. But instead he loses his army, and now he's found himself in a really, really, really tough position. Army coming around onto this left side here. Second Dwarven Mine is down. House is coming up, but the Hoplite, they can literally do whatever they want now. Run around the map, kill all the docks, that's fine. They can come in and start picking off a house, picking off a tower, breaking this backside down. Throwing Axeman starting to accrue up onto the front of the base there as villagers are going to getting picked off over here as well. Another villager ends up falling. Meanwhile, the Jarl raids coming through. We got the walls coming up over onto this side. Hoplites over onto this side, searching for a dock to kill off or something like that. I mean, they can kill off a dock so quickly. And these Jarls aren't going to be able to find a whole lot here. They do have... Do they have Thundering Hooves? They do have Thundering Hooves, so 5.3 speed, which is faster than the Hoplites, but you're not going to be able to get a whole lot of kills here, I don't think. Now, all that being said, Tunison is getting himself bronze weapons, bronze shields, bronze armor, which brings me back to my other point, where I said I don't think Kvothe really wants to stay in this classical age. And though it worked out for him, I don't think Tunison needed to take that fight then. What Kvothe needs here is a Mythic Age. And Mythic Age is going to make this game very, very tough for Tunison. 1, you get Medusa. That helps deal with the Jarls. 2, you get Lightning Storm. That helps deal with stuff too. What Tunison needs to do here is he needs to get a very large amount of Revenge Fire onto Kvothe immediately here. And it's looking like he's going to be able to do this as the Hoplites, however, they've got their own plan here to go for the main base. He's charging in. There's a handful of throwing axemen in here already. There's defenses to come through. The town center going to be getting targeted down. I wouldn't mind seeing some berserks getting converted, as that's exactly what's going to be happening here. The hoplites going after this town center towers, and everything should be enough to hold on here. Meanwhile, damage over onto this side to come through. Hera is on the way as Tunison needs to get some revenge fire in. Throwing axemen pulling back. They managed to deal with a whole bunch of hoplites, but Kvothe gets to the Mythic Age. Kvothe gets to the Mythic Age. He's okay. He is pushed off gold for the time being, but he's going to have a Lightning Storm. He comes over onto this gold mine. Risky. Nice play, but risky. If Tunison notices this, he has that inkling, can get some real damage done over the next minute. There isn't any Mythic Age coming through for Tunison. Tunison does have another Dwarven gold mine that he can drop here, which I don't mind in this position in the slightest. Dwarven mine gathers faster than a regular mine. The 100 favor could get spent on some battle boars, but I think the safety is much more important here, given your throwing axemen are so slow. Jarl's managing to spot a couple of villagers over here, getting at least a couple of kills. Has to feel good. But with Lightning Storm comes a lot of dead throwing axemen, comes a very, very difficult game here. On top of this, look at the favor. There's enough for another bronze or another restoration if Kvothe wants to. Kvothe looking to take this fight a little bit earlier than he otherwise might have wanted to, as now he says, no, let's pull back. Let's get ourselves some units in. His villagers will drop a fortress over here as well. He can also go for Argive patronage. The army going for a town center here as Hera is going to pop. And there goes the Lightning Storm as the army will immediately start pulling. But how many units are going to go down at the moment is the question, as the military resource value does start to drop. But it looks to me like it wasn't that big of a deal. Tunison's at 4K. Kvothe's at 4K. The big deal, however, that is starting to come through is twofold. The Bellerophon is coming in. And the Medusa is available. Both of these units absolutely demolish what Tunison is trying to do here. Bellerophon makes short work of a backline of throwing axemen. Medusa absolutely dominate the Great Jarl with the help of those hoplites. So we've got a very interesting technology also coming through here. It is Argive patronage. There's only 2 fortresses here, but this will be paid off over the course of, I would say, like 2.5 minutes here for free Myrmidons that come out. As the hoplites charging into the main base, getting some more damage done over here. And Tunison says, well, let's charge up to the top side and look for some revenge fire instead of trying to deal with this. A very risky maneuver, but can he manage to make it happen? We've got ourselves that iron mail coming in as well. Tier 3 armory upgrades coming through as well, as the throwing axemen pulling back and the hoplites say, I don't really care. Let me just kill your town center. We're good to go. Let's go for it. But Tunison does have the army advantage here. He just needs to actually take a fight. As the town center slowly going down here. Hoplites have got some pretty low HP, I'm not going to lie, as the town center trying to get all that damage done, but it's almost taken out. 500 gold remaining. Villagers making a bail for it as the army comes back to try and deal with this. Meanwhile, champion infantry will be through as the Medusa does get collapsed in onto. The villagers making a dive into the tower over here as they're going to do a little ring around the rosy here to try and keep themselves going. Jarl's sneaking through to try and deal with the Peltast here. But Kvothe is in a commanding position. More units are just moving in. You see the red dots just going everywhere around the map. He's constantly harassing docks. He's constantly getting damage done. Villagers pulling away. It's 35 villagers to 51, ladies and gentlemen. At the very least here, Tunison, even with a restoration. He should be able to deal with this. He pulls back nicely with his throwing axeman. He's got to be so careful with the throwing axeman there to ensure that he's actually killing hoplites. You do not want to kill off the heroes with the throwing axeman. Nice attack here with the Jarls onto those Peltas there, though, as the army for Kavoth getting a little bit out of sorts here. It will end up going down the town center. Will not be able to get finished here. And look at those Myrmidons starting to get into this army. A terrifying unit there. It's free, which is so big for Kavoth, given his economy is already gigantic. That being said, Kavoth continues to throw units underneath the Tunison base, and Tunison is trying to hold on here, but he's just not stopping the bleeding. He's got a military resource advantage for the time being. His talent is going to come back up. Up onto this side, the hill fort will end up getting taken out. And another hill fort coming down for Kavoth here might get exposed. And this could be what Tunison needs to bring himself back into this game. As those Great Jarls coming through. That's a lot of villagers there. There's not much behind this. This is exactly what Tunison needs. Some real big damage here onto the Kavoth economy as he picks off a bunch of villagers and denies the fortress. However, the hoplites, they are coming back in yet again. And as Tunison leaves, Kavoth enters as the town center just got back up for Tunison. It will immediately go down. This is vintage Zeus, ladies and gentlemen. And Tunison, he doesn't even want to see it. He taps out and goes, I just can't keep track of this Zeus army in game number 3. And Kavoth takes his second win in this series. What a game from Kavoth here. I mean, from just start to end, I didn't mind the fast heroic here from Tunison. However, we are going to go for a fast heroic, and we are going to be playing this type of style against Zeus. Why not put the temple right next to your town center? We're not farming here. This is a water map. We've got all the food we want in the world. We've got all the hunt we want in the world. Let's keep our temple safe, first and foremost. That was the first little bit of big damage that Kavoth dealt onto Tunison. Then, why not just get walls to defend our gold mine? Then, why don't we just get our villagers nice and safe on this wood line so we don't have to move anywhere? Then we only have one position we need to defend rather than two, where we're the wood and the gold mine. That was where Kavoth just surgically opened Tunison up and was just like, I'll take this, I'll take this, I'll take this, I'll take this. However, this game did really come down to one critical moment, and that was this fight right here. Equal military resources. One god power versus two. One god power versus two, however, it was bronze, which already beats flaming weapons in a 1-to-1 trade. And then it was also restoration, so it's even more. But the thing is, Tunison could have just run. He would have lost maybe, I don't know, 2 units, 3 units on the run. Not a big deal. Sure, you're down to flaming weapons, but your opponent's down bronze and restoration, or he's fighting you underneath the town center and towers. You're fine. I don't understand why he didn't run. If he ran, this game probably would have been very, very different. Nonetheless, let's jump over onto the drafting menu and see what's going to happen for game number 4. Remember, we're in a best of 9 here. It's first to 5. We've got a lot of games to come. Alrighty, Dry Arabia is our next matchup, and it is going to be a Fuxi versus Tsukuyomi matchup. Alrighty. Yeah, the only way that flaming weapons tops bronze is if the Norse player decides to split their army up. If you split your army up, then you're good to go. If you split your army up, then you're good to go. Alrighty. So Zeus got the win there, and our next matchup is on Dry Arabia. And it's Fuxi versus Tsukuyomi. It's absolutely wild to me right now, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely wild to me that Tsukuyomi went from a ace pick, first pick, must ban god in the previous tournament to the last pick god. in this tournament. Is that not absolutely wild? Yes, Tsukuyomi got nerfed, but was he hit that hard? That's wild to me. I don't believe it for a second. It might just be the maps. It might just be the Pandora's box maps. There's not really a good map for you to pick Tsukuyomi in, but Tunison finds Dry Arabia, which is as standard as it comes. So if there's a map here that Tsukuyomi can shine on, it's going to be this one. It's going to be this one. Well, what's the game plan? Well, first and foremost, the Fuxi can probably play a 1 talent center game here. I think it's well within the Chinese limits here to play 1 talent center against Japan here. You've got Halberdier, which deal with the Naginata Riders. You've got Fire Archer, which deal with Samurai. And you've got the Javelinier, which deal with the Yumi Archer. So you have all the answers, right? Of course, your opponent's got answers to what you do as well, but you have all the answers. So it does make some sense here. The question is, what sort of style is Tunison actually going to go for? That's what I want to know. But I don't know. I don't know what style it's going to be. So let's figure it out. Let's jump into game number 4. As finally, my game has not out of synced on me. Love it. Absolutely love it. Let's go in onto the map. Dry Arabia. Dum-ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum. And off we go. In to game number 4. In the left-hand corner, we've got Tunison playing Tsukuyomi. In the right-hand corner, we've got Kavoth playing Fuxi. It is Dry Arabia as well. Let's take a little look-see at the map. Relics, first and foremost. You've got Chariots of Sibel. This one getting spotted early does change things quite a lot here. This does change things quite a lot. Oops. Let me just change this here. This is absolutely butchering itself for me. Oop, there we go. That looks better. All right. This one here is really, really strong. We've got that Chariot of Sibel. So if you find that early on, it gives you a lot of early game relief, so to speak. I'm going to go ahead and say that I hate this temple from Tunison. We're going to come back to it. I'm going to come back to it. Over on this side, we've got ourselves the Pelt of Argus. This is +6 line of sight there. Onto the bottom side, we have Pygmalion Statue. This is villager hit points +40%. Over onto this side, we have ourselves the Arrows of Heracles. Now, why do I not like this temple? The big reason I don't like this temple is we can replace the temple with a 15 gold wall or 20 gold wall and keep our temple in a really safe position. The temple is important for things like Tengu, for things like more Kitsune, for Jurugumo, for whatever you want to build in the Mythic Age. You don't want to lose it. It's 150 wood, 150 gold, plus build time. So, yeah, this one here, I don't like it here. I much prefer him to play very safe, especially with the gold mine where it's placed. He might be scared of early game attacks, but just build the wall nice and early. It's fine. Like, China doesn't really have any early game damage they can do if you just build an early wall. So, this is something that I haven't really seen players do very much of, but you can delay your advance time by like 30 seconds. And just say, great, advance quick. It's fine if you want to build pioneers. I'm going to have my position walled, and the worst you can do is attack my walls with your pioneers, which is not going to do anything. So yeah, you could go that angle, but that's not what we're going to see here. We do see the advance time being very, very quick from Tunison instead. Incredibly quick. That's a 3 minute 20 advance time. as he's going to drop a stable up to the top side, and he's going to be ready to start dealing with any sort of early game shenanigans. Meanwhile, the Juragumo and the Kitsune are making their way across the map here, looking for any amount of damage that he can potentially get. All he has to do is get on top of a villager with the Juragumo, and the villager does die. Meanwhile, Tunison says, no. This elephant, we gonna kill this one right out here. No problems here. This, and you can help me kill it. Thank you very much, he says. I'd love for this to happen as the pioneer comes through, but there's still a little bit of time on Chi Yao to come in. This is a huge move from Tunison early on. This elephant went from being 900 food of safe hunt to grab under the town center to being a liability that Tunison can pick apart with Naginata riders. A huge move. Classical Age in, however, no real damage from that Juragumo as she gets brought back home to get healed. And we see a guardhouse from Tunison. Love that choice. Guardhouse or dojo, doesn't really matter. You can't just go cavalry in this matchup. No siree. In the main base here for Tunison, he's dropped himself his Imperial Academy, and he's going to be getting the Nijar out very, very shortly. Kavoth smartly says, okay, it's not a safe elephant, but I'm still going to put a silo down. I'm still going to try and just eat it. I can just play defense on it. Look at how my base looks. I've got walls up everywhere. Everything's defended. I've got a big fat peach blossom spring here in the back, helping out for later as well as the Naginata rider comes in. Look at that damage from Nijar. One poke on the Kitsune, and it's down to 31 HP. Ouch. Ouch. Meanwhile, the Naginata rider is just going to continue to just poke in, check this elephant non-stop, just ensure that nothing's going on there. Into the main base, we do have a Yatsa that's here, and the villager, is it going to go down? Can he somehow save it? No, he cannot. And the Chiao Yatsa is out of there. One vill pick. That's kind of huge. That is kind of huge. Meanwhile, the Naginata rider is going to be coming in, trying to track down this Yatsa, and he will be able to find it. Oh, he lets it go. Of course, the Yatsa does have that dash. However, at 5.3 speed, should be able to catch this one. Oh, never mind. These units are going to stop chasing, and he's going to be back home. In the main base for Kavoth, it looks to me like he's going for a fast heroic. An armory is coming down. He is going for a fast heroic. This is kind of wild. I like the move, but I don't like the move, if that makes any sense. As this Kitsune almost taken out, he does turn around, trying to finish off this or catch this Yatsa out. The reason I like the move is because it plays away from Bushido. Doesn't give any Bushido over to Tunison. But the reason I don't like the move is because of how exposed this Tunison base is, how good halberdier javelin areas, and how you can easily get some serious damage done. But I love the move just on the fact that the Bushido is going to be thrown to the side, and you're also going to be able to have Whitehorse Cav, which you're going to be able to deal with the potential Swampland a lot better, and all that other good stuff. Now the Naginata rider hopping over here, we will see the wooden gate getting knocked down. Got the Nijar coming up onto this side as these Naginata riders are going to be pulling back. And where to next for Tunison? He's the big advantage that I think Tunison's got here in this matchup for now is that he hasn't had to drop New Moon on anything. So he's still got his New Moon for the armory, which ends up giving him bronze weapons, bronze mail potentially, or bronze shields, ballistics, and a whole bunch of other good stuff, as the Yumi archers can actually hit the silo over here. And Kavoth actually built another silo behind this to say, hang on, if we need to, I'll pull back, as tiny bits of damage still coming over onto this side as Kavoth gets himself to the heroic age. The Taowu sends all the units flying, and Tunison will say, no worries, let me out of here. I'm going to head back home. we're going to be good. The one thing that Tunison hasn't taken the advantage, or taken for an advantage in this game so far, which I'm not really liking, is that he hasn't moved over into his outside hunt. He's been the one on the offensive. Goliath has been on the defensive. If you're on the offensive, you should be attempting to grab yourself extra hunt. And an easy way to do that with Japan, especially versus China, is just send a Miko over to play defense or 2 while you grab this hunt. So you send your villagers over here to grab the hunt, build 2 Miko, 2 shrines, and you're good to go. Meanwhile, no surprises here from Kavoth. He comes over and he drops a ballet, and he's going to start his White Horse Cavalry spammage. Meanwhile, the Naginata riders popping over here. He will see the ballet, and then he'll say, no worries, let me out of here. I see what's going on. It's fine. We keep playing. Armory situation. He does grab himself the copper weapons and copper shields. I think I would rather him go for copper mail here, because you get 3 upgrades from the armory. Ballistics plus copper weapons is generally the first 2 that you really want. And the other choice is depending on what your opponent goes for. In this case, Kavoth is going for mainly melee units. He doesn't really know this, but mainly melee units. So going for free bronze mail is going to be a little bit more effective than free shields, free bronze shields. Now, on top of that, food does gather slower than wood, so bronze mail is cheaper. Nonetheless, the Tengu looking to come through here, looking for a little bit of damage somewhere, as Zhang Xia is already over here to put his magic onto the Tunison Tengu. Gotta be careful with that bad boy. Meanwhile, up onto the top side, the White Horse Cavalry are coming around. Villagers get pulled back very early on into the main base here. I love that play, as Kavoth is now like, where did he go? Where did he go? No answers just yet, as we've got the Hachiman Golden Kite coming through as well. Meanwhile, up onto this side, the Tao says, get out of here with the rest of those units, and Tunison can't find any value there. But over onto this side, is there an angle for these White Horse Cavalry to get in here? Answer? I don't think so. The wooden wall is in, but he's going to sneak around. Tunison, he's going to get taken out. He could delete a wall and get out of here, but it is a little bit too risky. He's pulling back. Is the army going to pull back onto the defense? Over onto this side, we've got those Naginata riders dealing with this side, but Kavoth is out of here on the right. He's out of here on the left, and he's good to continue. More Yumi Horse Archers coming through as houses starting to come in. As Kavoth sees the army of Tunis and he says, I better pull back. And so far, I mean, this has been such a caution, like a very, very cautious game here from both players. They've done little pokes, getting little tiny bits of damage. Over onto this side, the wall. Oh, is he going to be out? Oh, no, he gets caught. He doesn't get the wall up fast enough. However, he does come in with his own Naginata riders to get some revenge damage in, as that wall will be finished. Meanwhile, Kavoth is yet again looking for another raid into the main base here. We do have some random shinobi in, as Tunison does have also some very, very important Yati spearmen, but one villager goes down. Another villager looking like it's going to be falling here. These ones pulling back over onto this side into the tower. But with the defense comes Bushido as well. Big amounts of damage to come in onto those White Horse Cavalry, as the second tier of upgrades will be coming in shortly, or third tier, I should say, as these villagers now make their way over onto this gold mine. And this is where things get very, very dangerous for Tunison. He needs to be over here. He can't just send his villagers onto this side without any sort of care. Now, the other thing here is that Tunison does still have his own classical age god bow, but so too does Kavoth. Mining camp coming up for Tunison. White Horse Cavalry going to be sneaking through over here as well. And at the very least, a little bit of defense from Tunison as he's going to be able to deal with these White Horse Cavalry. Kavoth very quick to pull back as more White Horse Cavalry coming in as a bit of an extra push in here. Up onto this side, he's going to be looking to hit this wood line yet again, but now Tunison has walled that off. And this looks like Kavoth says, I got enough value there. Let me bail out. So many little steals here as the Shogun going to be leading the charge in. Huge hero for Tunison to try and break through all of this. He's getting himself the samurai and all the other good stuff as there goes the forest protection. Lightning weapons comes in. Swampland getting dropped down, and Tunison does actually decide to pull back here for the time being as both players are going to be losing their god power. But can Tunison continue to make this attack work? Up onto this side, the White Horse Cavalry looking to actually raid here as the Kwafu going to get pulled back. But look at these Yumi Horse Archers can very simply start targeting down the Kwafu. But Tunison's got to be very careful here. He's continuing to charge forward. The forest protection does so much damage here as the White Horse Cavalry will be returning in. Can Tunison win this fight? Is the big question for the moment. He gets himself to heavy upgrades mid-fight. Samurai coming in onto the backside, losing a couple more White Horse Cavalry. Both players are bleeding at the moment. Tunison has to pull back a little bit. He's got some units over here. They're going to be able to deal with those White Horse Cavalry there. No problems. And Kavoth has fallen slightly behind here at the moment. Where to next? 41 villages to 55 villages, however. Kavoth has to feel like he's got a big advantage. The big problem here for Tunison is one Miko, and one Miko alone. That's going to be brutal. Now I've got all the Yadi Spearmen coming through, more Horse Archers. And I guess the question here is, can Kavoth get away with pure White Horse Cavalry at the moment? I'm not sure he really can. Once these Yadi Spearmen get out in a big enough mass, it's going to get very scary to be a White Horse Cavalry in an actual fight. Over onto this side, the White Horse Cavalry charging. Going to take out the Oyumi here. Onto this side, villagers going to try and bail back into the castle, not able to do so quick enough as now Kavoth is looking for all this damage here. Can Tunison get the cut off or not is the question. It looks like the answer is a very resounding no. And Kavoth gets out of there with only losing one White Horse Cav, but he does pick off a bunch of units, gets himself his ballet up, moving over onto this left side. The longer this goes on for Kavoth, the more comfortable he has to be feeling, because he's done so much damage in this game where he hasn't taken basically any damage. Like, of course, he's lost some units here or there, but in terms of economy, Kavoth is just getting more stuff at the moment. And look at the amount of Kwafu he's got. He's got 10 of them. Absolutely huge. However, Kavoth's units, they do not beat Tunison's. That's the big problem here. And Tunison is ready to go. There's no forest protection for this position. I wouldn't be surprised to see another ballet coming down from Kavoth here, because those Yadi Spearmen will absolutely dominate the White Horse Cavalry as the Kwafu are going to be spamming this ballet up. Any attempt to pick off some of those bad boys is going to be necessary. More distraction action from Kavoth here to try and deal with this. The Yadi Spearmen doing so much damage. Over onto this side, the Samurai getting some small amounts of damage done as well, but two ballet up for the moment here as Kavoth returns back in here to try and take out the Yumi Horse Archers again. But he still can't win this fight. He doesn't lose the fight. He's got himself the second ballet up. He's got the gold mine. Didn't really lose any villages. He's still raiding over on this side. And Tunison just can't crack Kavoth at this moment. He just can't crack it. The Oyumi coming through is going to be interesting, but you almost need to set up for this. You do have a lot of favor coming in now. 3 Miko in for Tunison. I wouldn't mind seeing even more coming through and then looking to drop another Swampland down or something like that here. A whole bunch of Tengu wouldn't go astray, but you see the Sages makes you not really want to build the myth units. And now we have Huang Di as the god of choice for Kavoth. I love this decision. Normally it's Gong Gong. But look at the army. Yes, there are Yumi horse archers, which can deal with a dragon, but they can't deal with a dragon by themselves. You need Bushi as well, as the Oyumi going to be coming through. And, well, you've got to be careful with these because they will go down quickly as Tunison is looking to move forward. I'd love to see a castle get set up onto this position here. The other thing I'd love to see is some vision over on these positions, or even some walls getting set up by Kavoth at the moment, as the White Horse Cavalry going to attempt to get in here, attempt to break forward, attempt to take the siege, attempt to slow this down. Look at the Kwafu just saying, do I care about your siege? No, I do not care about your siege. Let me just repair this ballet up. Does he have himself masons? No masons, so at the very least, they will do some good damage there as the secondary lightning weapons comes through. He dives in, he picks off 2 Oyumi here, and then he gets out as these Yumi horse archers will be doing the majority of damage. Can he take out some Kwafu or not is the big question, as has Kavoth bit off more than he can chew by trying to sneak this mythic age in. This Oyumi over here does get caught out again as 1 White Horse Cavalry going to be trying to get onto it, but pulls back, keeps it alive for the time being. I'd love to see a wall. Just get a wall up. Get a wall up. We need something here to stop these cavalry from sneaking in. Nonetheless, the Kwafu getting those repair back through yet again as the Shogun getting another samurai in for Tunison. But now the Mythic Age is through and the dragon comes in, and that's going to be night-night for a lot of these units here as Tunison is under attack over here. He's trying to get the town center in. The Yari are through, but he's not paying attention there. He pulls into the castle, keeps all the villagers alive. However, the Ying Long is doing so much damage here. And even though those Yumi horse archers do have bonus damage versus it, it's still got half of its HP remaining. Villagers falling over here as well. And it looks to me like Kavoth has managed to survive the worst of it. Town center 5 seconds from completion, but the Yinglong has something to say about that. A whole bunch of villagers falling. Town center is up. Villagers diving into the castle to try and keep themselves alive. Up onto this side, however, now we've got the Tiger Cavalry coming through. We've got John Wick on the way too. As the Yinglong down to 350 HP, villagers pulling back, and Tunison taps out as Kavoth has now given himself a very comfortable lead in this series. He manages to survive. I didn't think it was 100% going to work with just basically pure cav and distraction action, but he did so much damage to Tunison. I just feel like Tunison needed to commit to getting some actual walls up here. He just needed to commit to it. Just get some actual walls up. Then these cav don't do anything. He got the walls over on this side at least placed. He didn't finish them. But this left side to protect this gold mine, over onto this side to protect this wood line, he managed to get it up eventually. But like, just build the wall in and build houses off to lock this off. You've got to play defense that way against these cavalry raids because they're so tough to deal with otherwise. But a well-played game here from Kavoth. He's up now 3-1. There's still one little bit of breathing room left for Tunison. He can't afford to lose one more game. But Kavoth isn't going to make this easy. He's not going to stop playing at his level. Tunison needs to really lock in for game number 5. Let's check it out. Alrighty, Kavoth gets himself the 3rd win. And now we have the map. Prairie coming through. We've got Nuwa and we've got Odin for Prairie. So another Chinese god here for Kavoth. Another powerhouse god for Kavoth. But he is up against Odin, which is another sort of interesting matchup. A lot of It's been very, I think this matchup's been very, very close for a very, very long time. And the reason is because there's not really any sort of massive advantage for the Chinese in terms of a god path. Normally, Qi Yao gives all the advantage. You do have one idea, which is going to go for Zhan Nu. But yeah, you don't have the super strong idea of making how to work because of how hard it is to find a solid earth wall. You can deal with earth wall with forest fire or with undermine. All right. Let me drop this little timer in. We've got ourselves 40 seconds to come through. Ugh. All right. So Kavoth up 3-1. He is 2 wins away from being our Pandora's Box 2 champion. Now, I want to see games all day. So I'm actually, we gotta give some Tunison energy right now. We gotta give some Tunison energy. If Tunison does manage to win this one, we get to see another best of 5. If he doesn't, then we get to see an early interview from Kavoth. So chat, give your energy over to Tunison. Send him the good vibes. Put all your points onto Tunison. Let's see him make it happen here. Kavoth, though, he is on his powerhouse Noir. Let's see what's going to happen. Into game number 5, maybe, if I can actually get into it. And we now can get into it. As we get into this next one, let's check it out. Onto the map Prairie. And off we go, ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom right of the map, playing as Odin. Currently back up against a wall, but still has got a very good chance here in this series. I didn't bring it up, but there are a lot of powerhouse gods for Kavoth that are no longer available. Tunison has the Odin here. He's got himself a very nice open map. It's on prairie. We've got very small amounts of wood here. So there's a lot of opportunity for raiding and a very, very tough time for defense here, of which Kavoth is normally very good at. So we'll see if he's going to be able to make up for it. We'll see if he's going to go for all of his walls or not. And we'll see if Tunison decides to do anything slightly sort of offbeat here, so to speak. What are the options? Well, of course, 2 minor gods for both players. We've got Freya, we've got Heimdall for Odin. For Nuwa, we have Zhan Nu, and we have Hal 2. I prefer the... I need to flip this as well, don't I? I prefer the Hal 2... I prefer the Zhan Nu option here with Nuwa against Norse. However, Kavoth might go with the old idea of, what if I can find an earth wall that does not hit a forest? So potentially on top of this temple, not hitting this forest, not hitting this forest, not hitting this forest, and he might be able to get his base very, very safe here. We'll have to wait and see. Tunison, on the other hand, I mean, there is some other random options, like a very aggressive rush that could work here. Double gold mine, back food spawns. It's not going to be super ideal here to go for that sort of a game plan. So I think Tunison is just going to drop his temple. He's just going to play for what could only be a fairly stock standard Odin and look to get some outskilling action happening here. So far in this series, I think Kavoth has maybe gotten the better of Tunison in terms of the multitasking, in terms of the sort of like the outplay moments. But Odin has a lot of outplay ability. You've got raiding cavalry rage. You've got Valkyrie rage. You've got throwing Axeman micro that can be really tough to deal with as China. You've got the Frost ideas. You've got Njord ideas here as well. We'll have to see what's going to happen. Up onto the top here for Kvothe. Susanoo is the god of choice, so he is very much in line with what I would expect here. One big technology here, and the main reason for this is this technology that comes called reincarnation. There's also divine books here, and there's also the chillin', but the reincarnation here is one of the key upgrades for Susanoo. It basically makes all of your units cost 20% less, so long as you build more than 5 of them. Every 5 units you lose, you get 1 back for free. So it's kind of not 20% off, but it is 20% off, which is a big fat upgrade when you think about it. Now that applies to White Horse Cavalry as well as Tiger Cav, as well as the barracks and the machine workshop units. On top of that, this Divine Books also manages to cut your resource expenditure down of buildings by quite a lot, because you get Divine Books, and then you get yourself the attachment to get yourself some faster producing military buildings, which means you don't have to spend anymore. Nonetheless, we are going to be having that Freya on the way here for Tunison. And I guess finally, the other really nice thing here for Susanoo is the Vanish, which allows you to sort of play around things like flaming weapons, which Odin doesn't have, but also around frost. You can simply run away after the frost is done. Now we have the military camp coming up as a Herser is already in for a little bit of pressure. Onto the backside, the attempt. Oh, he almost had it, but no, he didn't have it, but he had it. Oh, it feels bad. He had the wall up, he had the house, but he just couldn't. There was an opening. Tunison gambling it all there on black, and unfortunately, red does come up as Kvothe manages to get out of there with just a 50 wood loss. Up to the top side, though, onto that wood line. He's still going to be good. There's not really a great usage here, I would say, for... I mean, there's a lot of forest, to be honest, but there's not a great usage for forest fire, just on the fact that it's going to be very, very tough for your opponent to be wanting to play around a forest. Nonetheless, Tunison pulls back into his main base. The longhouse is up. He's got himself a great hall. He's got himself another longhouse. So it's going to be raiding cavalry. It's going to be throwing axemen. I'm not surprised to see this in the slightest, as the walls will start to come down. Utilizing that auto build feature here from Noir, such to lock this position off, walling off this top side, and actually defending the villager. Very, very smart here, though it's still dangerous to be getting this to happen. A whole bunch of raiding cavalry or a Valkyrie popping up there. Could be a dead villager very quickly. Does Tunison see this? He is spotting the wood line over here as he comes around onto this side, charging into the main base with some Herser as well. As he comes through here, the army is waiting onto this side. The Herser trying to get onto this position as well, as Tunison does manage to sneak through. He sees that low HP Kwafu and he wants blood. Can he actually pick it off? Answer, no he can't, and he loses a raiding cavalry for it and a Valkyrie up onto this top side. However, he's actually picking off some units, so he is getting some value with this attack. But Kvothe's defense there, 2 on point. The bloodied up Kwafu here. Well, he's sad, but he is going to have to keep working. No days off in the Kvothian Empire. No days off. Tunison to pull back. He's still making units out. He hasn't really lost anything substantial. Losing a Valkyrie hurts. Losing a raiding cavalry hurts. Not actually getting any damage done. That hurts. But he hasn't really fallen super far behind, I wouldn't say. 1 gold mine is down. He's going to move over onto this one. 3,000 gold remaining there as the houses are going to start coming through. Up onto this side. One cheeky little wall on the way. Does not get denied as Tunison is poking forward here. He wants to get in. He wants to take this position out. Those chillin' can come in and just start healing up that poor bloodied up Kwafu there. And that is now what's going to happen. Takes a while, but it's well worth it. It's now Kavoth will just pull back. He's in the middle of the map on the hunt. It's pretty hard to actually get a raid off here with Nuwa, with the exception of the Chillin, but you've got raiding cavalry to sort of deal with that. The Hursa are also out here too, as the army for Kavoth does see the opportunity to move forward here. Tunison pulls back in this moment as well. How unlucky can you get? Tunison pulling in with his own Hursa here. The villagers will start to bail. They all get hit with the flame as the raiding cavalry are going to getting moved back over here. Tunison pulls back. I think he can take the fight even without the raiding cavalry, but he's going to pull back for the time being, trying to bait these units in here. Turns in now as the raiding cavalry come through to try and catch out this army, but the halberdier are on the front. The Ursa now on the back, vanish through, and Kavoth is out of here. And Kavoth is out of here. A little bit of a calm before the storm. A little bit of a calm before the storm. As Kavoth gets back in here, he's going to heal up with his Chillin. He's going to play defense. Tunison going to get his market up. He did lose some villagers, but he's still okay. Actually, I don't even know if he lost any villagers. I'm not sure if he did. But he did lose some units. Everything matters here. Kavoth, on the other hand, look at his economic spread. I'd love to see him just take all the villagers off of wood, or peasants off of wood, and put them onto herdables here. Because he's got plenty of gold. He's got plenty of wood. He just needs food here. As the Chillin numbers are now out. And this is where things get very scary for Tunison. For Chillin will deal significant damage here. The Hursa coming through. We see one throw in action gets taken out. And a little bit of revenge fire to come through. The snare is in. And he can potentially take down some Chillin here. This is a nice find here. Kavoth sort of getting a little bit overconfident with this as the raiding cavalry come through. Now, these Chillin can move. No, they can't move through the raiding cavalry. He catches one out. Can he get the other one? Yes, he can. No, he's going to let one get back. This other one's going to fall in a huge turnaround here for Tunison. Absolutely huge as Kavoth throws away so many resources in Chillin. However, behind this, the most terrifying thing that could happen is about to be on the cards for Kavoth. What is the one thing that Tunison needs to play around here? It's Fey Beasts on his throwing axeman. That's the one thing he needs to play around. How do you play around it? Well, you leave your Hursa at the back of your army, ready at all moments for a Mythic Age to come through. Tunison poking in, popping back. A house on the front here. A confident house on the front here, I might add, as the raiding cavalry trying to poke forward. Hursa going down is not ideal. He needs those. He absolutely needs those. As this military camp does go down, this game can turn on its head in a literal moment here with one click of a button. I hate to say it, but that's exactly what might be happening as the army of Tunison says, I got to get in here. I got to get some real damage done. Charging in underneath the town center. He doesn't care about it. Terracotta Riders does get called upon. And there goes the heroic age as Fey Beasts gets dropped directly on top of those Thrown Axemen. You run, but they're all dead. You run, but they're all dead. And Tunison drops to 1.3k military resource value. And he taps out. I can't say I didn't tell you so, but I told you so. You can play around this. You just have to put your Hursa on your Thrown Axeman. You just have to put your... This is incredibly hard to play around. Kavoth does manage to take the win here. An incredible defense. Managing to get to the next stage. He did distract with the Chillin. He lost those, but Tunison went a little crazy on the attack. I think he should have been thinking about the heroic age for Skadi and a defense of this Fey Beast. But unfortunately, he went for the all-in. He went for some real damage here, and he just could not get it. Nonetheless, A well-played game here from Kavoth. Now he is one game away from his second S-tier tournament champion. First place finish. Let's jump over to the draft. Tunis is not going to give up just yet. We'll see if we can bring it back. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. All right. The next game is on the map Hideout. And ladies and gentlemen, you get to see it. We get to see it. It's either going to be we get to see a game 6 or, oops, I copied the wrong thing. We either get to see a game 6 or we get to see the first win of Demeter in an S-tier tournament main event. So either Kavoth wins in this moment or Demeter will be 0% for this tournament in the main event. Actually, no, that's not true. We could still get a Demeter win in the bracket reset. I could be speaking too soon. Sorry, this is game 6. Whatever. Don't mind me. It's fine. All right. So we've got Frere, we got Demeter. We did see this matchup, and it went very much the favor of the Frere player. But there were some very questionable decisions that were made in that game, to say the very least. And I tell you who's not going to make questionable decisions in this game. I think Kavoth has shown that he doesn't want to go for anything crazy here. He's just playing solid Age of Mythology. He is just playing solid Age of Mythology. So we'll see how it's going to go. I got to say, fast heroics are on the menu here from Kavoth. For Icarus, very powerful versus Norse just in general. Tunison's got options of spamming town centers and playing a very aggressive boomy game. Kavoth has got the Hamadryad that he can use to catch Tunison out here. There's a huge amount of different options, to say the very least. All right. Well, I'll say it again. We want to see more games. As much as I want to see Demeter get her first win, I would much rather see a game 7. And as much as I want to see a Kavoth get a second tournament win, I would much rather see a bracket reset. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, don't fret. The day isn't over when Kavoth wins. The day is not over when Kavoth wins. Why? Well, we do have a free-for-all coming with the best Age Mythology players involved from Pandora's box. So there's that. There is that. So don't you guys fret. Nonetheless, let's move into game number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And check out if Tunison can manage to topple Kavoth's first attempt in an S-tier tournament with Demeter on the map Hideout. Let's check it out. And off we go. Tunison back up against the wall now. He spawns in with Frere. Kavoth, one win from greatness. There is only one other player who has got more than one S-tier tournament victory, first place finish under his belt. And that player is the Mister. Currently, Kavoth shares one S-tier tournament victory with the Rapple. They both have one. Kavoth won Mythic Wars, Rapple won Champions League Season 4. Can Kavoth make it too? This is the big question. We'll see how it's going to go. We've got upgrades coming through. We've got a nice safe temple here from Kavoth. I love it. I couldn't love it anymore. This is exactly what I do with Demeter because she is such a defensive god and any weakness is very bad. On top of this, take a look at the naughtiness that Kavoth is doing here. He says, I see your potential for early game aggression here, Monsieur Tunison. Let me just move out of my base and let me eat all of this hunt first, saving the hunt in my main base to potentially even herd underneath the town center. Love it. Absolutely love it. Tunison, on the other hand, he's got to be aware that at any point in this game, this forest can get opened up. So what do? Do you just wall off this early? Or in the mid game, you just wall it off early and then the thing will come through, but you've still got a little bit of defense? That's an option. It could be really, really good. It could be the way to go. Or do you wait for it and then you just react and then you come back over and you wall it off? Now, I do not expect to see Kavoth going for a crazy all-in here. This is not his style. He's advancing late. The question is he going to go for Pan? Or is he going to go for Ares? On the one hand, Pan is fantastic versus Freyr because it's an option to deny a Gullen Bursty or deny Gullen Bursty damage. It's also an option to deny a hill fort doing damage as well. You also have Ares, which is also very good versus the Freyr hill fort, but doesn't do as well versus the Gullen Bursty, obviously. Now we are going to be seeing Pan from Kavoth. I like this call. He's got himself Huri's hunting bow as well, which is going to boost up his economy a little bit. That's nice. On the bottom side, we got Thar Scepter, as if your farms aren't cheap enough. Have some cheaper farms. Okay. Demeter's farms aren't cheap, but you can put 2 villagers on them, so it effectively means that 1 farm is worth 2. So if I then get 25% off that farm, then I'm paying 50 wood for two farms, right? And that's very cheap. Very, very cheap. Over onto this side, we have ourselves the Ogre Bitten Helm. This is going to be hero hit points plus 10% of the base there. And we do have Orpheus grabbing the relic, but the Tunison Berserk is very unhappy about this as Orpheus is going to pull that one back home. Armory now popping up for Kavoth as well. On the top of the map there is also the Thundercloud Shore. Ursa popping in for Tunison, and he is just playing a nice slow game. I imagine there's going to be some sort of a talent center here, but Kavoth, his plan is incredibly obvious if you can see his resources. He's building, and you see his armory in the main base. He wants a fast heroic, and this makes a ton of sense here. As the house comes up to block in this position, the Orpheus drops off the relic, so now farms are going to be incredibly cheap. Actually, I want to see, are they 50? 56. 56 wood for a bountiful farm. And Tunison on the other side says time for a town center. So the question here is going to be, can a 2-town center Freyr slow the bleed of damage from a flying hero coming after your villagers? That's the main game plan here from Kavoth. He's also setting up for a potential to get more town centers later. He can also go in for Pan's Pioneers, which makes the second town center grab very, very worthwhile, and all the other good stuff. Now we have the Asgardian hill fort to come through for Tunison onto the top here to defend the gold mine, to defend the villages on the food. He has to finish up the town center first. And I think there's enough time to get both of this up before a potential Icarus comes in to create mayhem here. But the other thing that Tunison might want to consider is just get what he's getting it. Never mind. Is get watchtowers. Watchtowers is going to protect him from the Icarus raids a little bit. Hillfort is going to protect his gold mine. He's going to protect his food as well. And he should be okay here. But the big question is, what's the follow-up behind this? Like everybody who looked at the Demeter god and saw it day one was just like, there's a hero that they gave to Demeter, which has area of effect damage, which is already crazy strong in Age of Mythology. It's flying, which is already crazy strong in Age of Mythology. And then also has 5.0 speed, which is also crazy strong in Age of Mythology. A flying 5.0 speed unit that's got area of effect damage. They all saw it. But the question has always been for Demeter, what is the follow-up? What do you do after Icarus pops out? Pegasus coming around. Hillfort will be up. Here's the thing that Kavoth can do. He can drop Arcadian Meadow on top of the Asgardian Hillfort. No problems. And just say, I can just sit over here and I can siege your gold mine and things like that. But nonetheless, Icarus now in. And he is going to be making his way across. We do have the random Hamadryad sitting on this position. I'm not sure exactly what that's ever going to do there, but he's just going to be hanging in for the time being. Oh, and there we do actually have the big fat. Wow. We do have the I can't remember what it's called. We have the Wither, and Kavoth says, let's go. There is a watchtower over here. There is a Gul and Bursty over here. Surely Arcadian Meadow, no? Holy damage, though. Holy damage. I mean, the Hamadryad gets some revenge fire off, but no Arcadian Meadow from Kavoth is wild there. As now the Hamadryad has to pull back. The villagers dive into the sentry tower, and Tunison is going to be very ready to start putting some pressure back over onto this. He can come in, take out the fortress. He can put a wall down. No problems here. I don't understand this play from Kavoth in the slightest. Villagers popping back forward here to try and get another hill fort in, but the Hursa are all in, and I think we're going to a game 7 here. No, we're not. He's just going to pop in. He's going to put the fortress down. He's trying. He's getting blocked. He's getting blocked. Can he get it up? No, he can't. The units are all spread out perfectly. Where can he go? He got it up, but the town center's firing back at it. The town center is firing back at it. Icarus can actually shoot these guys. The Draugr can shoot these guys from out. What do you do? Tunison, put the Draugr here. There he goes. Now he can shoot. Now he can shoot. Where is he going? What is happening? The Hamadryad. Everybody has struggled with the Hamadryad. She is a difficult unit to use, to say the very least. Very powerful, but sometimes she will pop out of her shell. And now, what's going to happen is Kavoth can pop Tropoli non-stop at this town center. He can't use it on top of the Arcadian Meadow is the issue. The thing that I think that Kavoth could go for here is basically just Hamadryad Petropolis. Yes, the Hursa are gonna... Wait, do they? Hang on. No. The Hursa do not struggle... Oh. Villager down. Tanker down. The Hursa don't have some sort of magic defense versus the Hamadryad either. You can send one unit in to try and explode the Hamadryad, then charge forward, but for some reason, Tunison is continuously sending dwarves in here to die. His town center will be falling, but he does have a villager lead behind this. Another Asgardian Hillfort to come up. Smart move here from Tunison is to just play defense. Let's just give the town center. You invested a fortress. You invested a whole bunch of Petropoli. Then what? And I guess just play around running from the Hamadryads has to be the idea here. Has to be the idea here. Great halls coming up. Longhouses coming through. You have to imagine that Jarl, throwing Axeman, Herser, and all that other good stuff is going to be what's to come next. As another tower to go down. Tunison now heroic age through A gear. As the Petropoli will clean up the rest of this main base. But what's the plan here for Tunison? How does he break through and stop all of this shenanigans here? As the Hamadryad moving up onto this position here to potentially become a part of this forest. Trying to be sneaky. Does Tunison see this? He doesn't see the Dryad up here. So this guy is back to a tree. From Tunison's perspective, it is just a tree. You can't tell it's a tree, and it is just a tree. As the tower's going down for Tunison. Tunison, by all intents and purposes, he is in front here. He's got more villages. He's in the heroic age. He's lost some buildings, granted. That's a cost that he's lost, but heroic age is in, heroic age upgrades are in, and it's all looking fine for Tunison at the moment. Longhouse going to get taken down. The tree just chilling on top of the Metropolis is so scary here. And it does pop. I almost missed it. It does pop there, and the Herser nearly all die as the Hypaspis come through and deal with this. Is now Kavoth going to move a little bit more aggressively forward. He does have the tree over on this side. Meanwhile, now the communal hearth to come in. The communal hearth to come in. And Tunison going to pull back ever so slightly. He's still got a military lead, but how is he going to be able to break through the Dryads? That's the question. How is he going to be able to break through the communal hearth as this Ulfjarl now becomes part of the Kvothian Empire? Behind all this, we are seeing some raids coming through. Love this from Tunison. Got to get a little bit of pressure on. Meanwhile, Town Center up for Kavoth. He doesn't actually go for the Pan's Pioneer technology. Doesn't really make sense not to take that as Demeter, because it's literally just two free myth units, not free myth units, but two myth units that are very, very cheap. I think it's like 100 gold or something, as the Heavy Huskal coming through, going to sacrifice itself for the Dryad, but 6 seconds passes, and it is back as Kavoth gets a little bit out of position here. He's going to pull back to his tree. Got to be so careful, because it turns back. There it is. It's back again, as a portable ram will pop that one for now. Charging in to try and take out the communal hearth, but Kavoth very smart here. He's going to turn that one onto the portable ram. As we see Tempest to come through, Kavoth pulling up to this top tree line here to try and get another pop from his Hamadryad. Does get it off, but the units are very, very powerful here. There's too much stuff for Tunison, and it looks to me like Kavoth's crazy, fast heroic siege push has been denied. Over onto this side, Tunison's Hill Fort coming up. It's 50 villages to 68 here, but it's 5k military resource value for Tunison to Kavoth, who has 700 resources in the bank, and he does tap out. I gotta say, I love the strategic idea from Kavoth, but why not just drop a village center and do it with a village center? It'll slow you down by maybe a minute, and then all of a sudden your economy is basically as strong as the Freres here. Does not make sense to me. This strat here is incredibly powerful, but Tunison, an impressive defense. In fact, just a stock standard defense, in all honesty. If you ever get sieged by a one town center siege, you always want to just sack the position that's getting attacked and just pull back until your economy pays it off, and then you charge forward and you're good to go. That's how it works. But a well-played game here from Tunis, and he keeps the series going. He keeps the series going here. Kvothe is still one win away from being champion. But in losing one game, does that hit a little bit of the mental of Kvothe? Or does Kvothe just shake it off and say, Demeter is just going to be a 0% win rate god, and that's just how it is. Let's check out the draft, see what they're going to pick for the next one. Kvothe's turn to pick the map. Alrighty. So the Freya victory. And we are going to be going in onto King of the Hill. And it's going to be a Ra versus Susanoo affair here. Ra versus Susanoo for our next series. All right, let's have a little cheeky look-see. We've got ourselves 2 minutes. All right, Ra and Susanoo. So this is another one of Kvothe's power picks, but for some reason here, Susanoo is sitting down quite low in the list here. A lot of players were banning out this god, saying that he is absurdly broken, one of the strongest gods in the game. But I think maybe people have started figuring out how to deal with the Susanoo, and maybe that's what Kvothe feels like. He's like, nah, yes, Susanoo's strong, but there's too many weaknesses, or potentially, I'm not exactly sure. There's a lot of frustration inside of the god to have to deal with as the opponent, but we'll see what Kvothe is going to be able to make happen here. All right. I will say as well, as we are in this potentially one last game here, it could be many more. We do have this free-for-all getting queued up for after. You're going to have some of your favorite players like Mr. Husk Super. We've got Matador, Mini Yeti, a whole bunch of Divine, a whole bunch of our favorite players to play a really fun free-for-all for you guys afterwards. So get excited, be excited, and all the other good stuff. But nonetheless, Ra versus Susanoo. This one's going to be interesting. I don't know about this side of the matchup very well. From the Ra side, I've had actually a lot of troubles from the Ra side of this matchup. But Kvothe is one of, again, he's just one of the best players in the world, obviously, because he's currently one win away from being crowned the S-tier tournament winner. But Kvothe's defensive play, Kvothe's Ra, very, very strong. And the big question is, what is he going to actually go for with Ra to deal with what Susanoo does? But more importantly, what's Tunison? I almost said Susanoo. What's Tunison going to do here to try and crack the Kvothe Ra? He's been playing, I would say, a little bit on the crazy aggressive side. Oh, come on. Have I just been broken? I think I've just been broken. Okay. I got a little bit of a timeout. Give me a second here, guys. I am going to have to restart before we get into the next game. But yeah, the big question is really what is Tunison's angle to try and take out the Kvothe Ra going to be? Like, do you go for one Yudo? Do you go for the Jiragumo style? Well, not even Jiragumo style, but like something else that way. Those are the big questions. But let's jump into it. Game number 7. Tunison Kvothe. One more win for Tunison, and he is the victor. Can he make it happen? Oh, Tunison push him. Let's have a little look-see in onto the map, King of the Hill. And off we go. Top of the map, Tunison playing Susanoo. Bottom of the map, Kvothe playing as Ra. The map here is going to be King of the Hill. The person who is the king lays claim to this settlement. Also, all the gold mines there are relatively important as well. We've got some gold mines around on the outside as well, so there is some opportunity to be somewhat boomy. You don't have to play straight in for it and all the other good stuff. But the big question is, what way is Tunison going to be approaching this matchup? Does he go for mass god powers? Does he go for mass myth units? Does he not go for mass anything and just go for just something completely unrelated to a Susanoo strength? There's lots of different options. Kvothe on the other end, does he play a classical fight? Does he play fast 2 town center? What are the options here? We did see this map and a similar matchup go very, very poorly for Kvothe when he faced up against 3DB. In fact, 3DB took him out on this very map with, I believe it was Amaterasu. And Tunison with Susanoo can actually do a very similar strategy, but I think it's more potent with Susanoo. We've got some relics here. Black Lotus to help out the Ra farms is going to be huge. Over here, we've got that Cathar of Apollo with the movement speed plus 10 for villagers. Always nice. Harmonia's Necklace to boost up that economy is going to be huge for whomever does decide to pick that one up. And then finally, we've got Pandora's Box. Always nice. Favor cost minus 15% there for the myth units. Always very, very good. All right. Temple coming up for Kvothe. Now, both players do have forward gold mines. On King of the Hill, it's actually impossible to get a back gold mine spawn. There's always forward gold mines. Little bit of a insider knowledge to this one. If you saw the video, you'll actually know, but Soup knew this. He took this knowledge for himself when he managed to apply it to someone who was not aware of it in his own series. I recommend checking that out if you do have the opportunity. It's a great rundown of what happened in that series. I'm not going to give you any more spoilers, but it is on YouTube, so check it out. Mr. Husk Super, shout out. And we are going to be seeing the Minakata Tomi here for Tunison. I'm not exactly surprised to see this. This has been very, very common. Lots of players have stopped going so hard into Inari Okami. It's still a god that people like to pick very frequently, but Minakata Tomi has more and more become the kind of stock standard for Susanoo. As now we've got the Bars to come through for Kvothe. And of course, behind this, Crushing Waves, Miko, Kitsune, the whole 9 yards, all the good stuff. And it does look like Kvothe is aiming for a fast second town center of some sort. One thing that he has to be very, very careful of is that he needs to have the right amount of priests. Otherwise, some Kitsune can come in and cause some issues here. As Tunison is searching for something, he does find the obelisk. Going to take that out very, very quickly. Priest will grab the farming upgrade or relic, Black Lotus, to bring it back home. And behind this, we've also got the saltwater spring technology to come through for Tunison, which will boost his food income through the stratosphere, as we do have a Shrine of the Hunt up over onto this right side. Hits the gold mine, hits the forest just a little bit, and he's going to have a huge amount of food to start grabbing on that position. Goats coming up for Tunison as well, as we have a quick goat count, 16 to 8. As Kvothe also drops a barracks and an armory, and the Kitsune will poke in here, as the priest says, no. You don't want to hang around in my base. Get out of here. For one barracks, we could see a complete... This could be the exact same strategy that Tunison threw at Kvothe earlier in the series, where it's just one barracks fast heroic with a Shifting Sands, but a Shifting Sands with a forward Migdol would be... I don't think it's that strong against Minakata Tomi, but it would be an option for sure. The reason why it's not that strong against Minakata Tomi is because of the one Yudo defense. Nonetheless, obelisks in the main base for just a little bit more line of sight. He's got obelisks off onto the left side, onto the right side to get all that knowledge in. As into the main base there comes a Sphinx that's going to get sent packing. Now, you could turn around and try and kill the Naginata Rider, but Tunison will never allow that to happen. He's just going to run. He's got the speed advantage. He can pull back and just heal up. So this is not really a problem. As the Kitsune also come through, they'll get a little bit of damage done before pulling back out, and Tunison is now out of here. He'll start healing up with his Mikos, and he should be okay. But Sphinx Spearman from Kavoth is a very interesting decision here. Now, if Tunison reads this correctly and drops a dojo and gets himself out his on the Musha, not sure this is going to be as effective as Kavoth wants it to be. Of course, Kavoth could also start thinking about doing things like Axeman and all that stuff to deal with the Onnamusha, but you only need a handful of them, and the Sphinx are going to lose a lot of value. But if Tunison feels like he can just go for archers and go for Yumi, or Bushi, I should say, they don't do as much damage. They're not as effective versus the Sphinx, at least not until they have ballistics. So we'll see how it goes. Another Sphinx going to be coming in for Cryos, for Kavoth. He's up to Cryo Sphinx. Doesn't have himself those upgraded Sphinx just yet. And behind this, Fujin is coming in. This is a wild decision from Tunison, and I couldn't be more happy. However, the Sphinx coming in, I wouldn't be surprised to see an eclipse here. However, the Kusanagi comes through. Those Miko need to get brought in to defend this as one villager goes down. The Bushi getting some good damage done. The villager's going to pull into the Sentry Tower to try and keep themselves alive. Over onto this side, trying to pick off those villagers. The villagers on the gold mine here going to be doing a little bit of bait and switch. Pulls off into the tower over here. The Miko will turn around and slap the Sphinx. Picks that one off. One villager down over onto this side as Tunison is trying to bait that. He gets into the tower, and I think he survives. That defense was absurdly well played from Tunison. That could not have gone better for Tunison. Back up onto the hunt. He's still a ways away from getting to his heroic age. He gets himself the next tier of Bushido from that as well. And it's those little moments that create a victory in these games. One mistake there in that moment from Tunison, it would have been game over. Now, Kavoth didn't really... I think he lost 2 Sphinx for it. But he lost his Eclipse, which really does lower the stock of the Sphinx for the rest of this game. Into the main base, the Cryo Sphinx gets spotted. Turning around into its Tornado as a couple more Naginata Riders will come in and try and prevent this one from getting back home. One Kitsune does go down as the Sphinx gets bloodied up and will eventually fall here. Tries to pull away there as the Haruko Sphinx does come through, but as it gets snared, it will not be able to escape here. Even after the snare is gone, the Kusanagi, not the Kusanagi, the units will be fine there, as we do have the Sphinx coming back in for another little cheeky raid into the main base. Tunison is quick to react. Doesn't look like he dropped any villagers. And we are indeed seeing the Fujin coming through. Fujin is in. Now the question is, we saw Fujin once from Matador on this map, and he was using it with basically just mass smiting gusts, which worked really well, but did not quite give him a victory in his game. There is the Oni available with Fujin. There's also really, really powerful horse archers. He's got himself the upgrade in his... Let me grab this one here. He's got himself the upgrades in his guardhouse, which gives him cheaper archers. The Bushi also cheaper, 54 wood, 45 gold. As the Sphinx sneaking into the main base again. More Bushi coming through to defend here on every single side as the villagers will simply get back home. No problems. Sobek is in, looking for any amount of Locust shenanigans here to pick off some villagers. But yeah, so he's got so many different options. Do you go in for the Oni? Do you go in for the super horse archers? And we do see the Oni angle here from Tunison. He's going Deadly Rage. He's going Oni Mask. He's going Gale's Fury. This Oni needs to get back to safety. Is he all? And he is also going to, yeah, the Gale's Fury as well. So Oni plus Yumi Horse Archer. Oni plus Yumi Horse Archer. It's happening, guys. House coming down over here. Now, Kavoth on the backside here. It looks to me like he's trying to go for a Mythic Age. Osiris makes perfect sense here if he reads this. But even if he gets to Osiris, the Yumi Horse Archers are a perfect answer to the Son of Osiris. But he's actually going Horus. How does Tornado deal with this? How does Spearman deal with this? How do Avengers deal with this? Is the big question. Oni Mask coming through, and the Oni will slowly start to make their way across the map. There is a big timing here, but these Oni need to get going. Mythic Age is 90, just over 90 seconds away. Over here, the Sphinx managed to catch out one Naginata rider as these guys popping over here. The Oni waiting. He needs to get going, though. Surely. He's sitting back, waiting, watching. But how long do you want to wait before you decide it's time to go? Bushi's starting to come through. They're going to pick off those Sphinx so quickly. One Sphinx down. The Oni aren't moving. Tunison, wake up. These are the units yeah, there he goes. Now he's starting to move. These are the units you need. They take so long to get across the map, though. 3.9 speed. Even with that 9 crushing waves. 9 waves? What is it? I can't remember. Even with that, I think it's crushing waves technology. As another Sphinx gets taken out, life is still very tough there. Daimyo versus Sphinx is also an amazing answer where that's concerned. But the big question is, will a tornado be enough here? Now, you can also use Smiting Gust to get away from the tornado and keep everyone alive. You just have to click it correctly. It's very, very finicky, but you can manage to make that work. As Tunison slowly it's taking so long. This can't be what he wanted to have happen here. He wanted to be hitting way before this. But Kavoth will have Tornado. The units will get stuck in this. He's going to have to Smiting Gust away from it. Tornado onto the army. He pulls back. Okay, he doesn't lose that much, actually. I mean, a whole bunch of Yumi Horse Archers do end up falling, but he still has a really powerful army behind all of this, especially with the Kusanagi. His army's very slow with those Oni, as he does decide now it is time to turn and take the fight. Picking off those priests here first and foremost. Is he going to be able to actually deal with all this as the Smiting Gust is going to come through, sends the units flying in an attempt to keep everyone sort of alive and in one piece. Over onto this side, the Oni versus the Avengers. We'll see what he can actually do here. There's no priests for the moment as more Yumi Horse Archers coming in. The next tier of Bushido to come through as Kusanagi gets dropped down. Tunison getting some good damage done. But Kavoth is now out of here. I feel like Tunison did not need to use the Smiting Gust. He had a really good fight here. Instead, it kind of got all messed up for him. Nonetheless, more priests are coming through. More Oni can come through as well as 88 favor. So there's options for another Shrine of the Hunt. For more food income, there's options for another Smiting Gust to potentially send the units away from this Migdal. But now, Kavoth says it's time to go with some Avengers. Raiding with the Avengers at this point is going to be brutal. But there's so many wolves here to defend. I'm not sure it's going to get what Kavoth wants done here. As the Oni to charge forward. There goes the Locust to get some significant damage done. The Avengers, I don't know where they are. Villagers going into the main base as the Oni starting to make their way forward here. onto the back position. One Sphinx trying to get that damage done as the Yumi Horse Archer immediately targets down that other priest. Great micro from Gavoth to pull the Oni out of the fight, however. As the Yumi Horse Archers do end up starting to lose their numbers, but the fight does seem to be favoring Tunison here. Another Sphinx goes down, a couple more units falling. Up onto this side though, absolute brutality awaits. Two Petsukots coming in. The Avengers hitting the villager line here. Tunison is full focused onto this position. Both the Smiting Gust defense in. Over onto this side, the Migdol Stronghold is going to be going down in the main base though, or in the middle of the map though, a Migdol Stronghold to come down to try and get another gold mine as the gold mine here is about to expire. Another Avenger to come through, and now Tunison backing up. There is a resource advantage right now for Tunison in terms of military. Economically, he's looking okay as well as Tunison turns around and immediately Gavoth will leave. But you need to at least leave this gold mine. It's done. Middle of the map is everything. The middle of the map is literally everything here. Sooner or later, there's going to be another tier of Bushido to come through for some more as this Avenger sneaks by a Daimyo here and immediately turns back around to try and deal with it. Villagers back onto this gold mine. The Wolves will try and defend a little bit as he goes straight after those villagers. Tunison is in full panic mode to try and deal with all of this. But he can simply just attack this position. Rain coming down. How many farms? 16 farm rain is a huge economic boost for Gavoth in this moment. Villagers coming through as the Yumi Archers will be able to get a little bit of damage here. Bit of misclicking here as the Oni will get their damage started. Main base up here. Daimyo picks off that Avenger. And these Oni just do not die. As more units are slowly going to start making their way through. You've got a Kusanagi to potentially drop down. They're still a ways away from that next Bushido tier. But units are falling. The Avenger comes through. Can Tunison break this or not? Is the big question. The Daimyo to come over here, chasing away that Avenger. There's the Daimyo on the other. Petsukos on the back as the Oni do end up falling. The Petsukos will go down and Tunison needs to bail out for the time being. Resources equal. Villages equal. Dojos coming down for Tunison. An attempt to go into Samurai doesn't really make a huge amount of sense here. A whole bunch of Yati Spearmen are what he needs to deal with these Camel Riders, as the army of Gavoth coming back over here does cut off a Daimyo. Potentially, I guess the Yumi, the on the Musha makes some sense here as well. There's now Gavoth. Yet again, looking to hit this gold mine. The villagers are in the main base for the main island for the time being, as those Camel Riders are going to search for damage here. But where do they get damage? The villagers are on top of this. These are the villagers he can actually hit here. And now Tunison says, no worries, you go for that, I go for you. As the villagers will dive into the towns and to dive into the tower. Does he have the defense here? Does he have the offense here? I think he does. The Daimyo immediately hitting the Avenger. He's got three Oni to help take out the Migdol Stronghold. The main base here, 0 economy to come through as one on the Musha will end up going down. Or one Miko, I should say, not even an on the Musha. It's not even a big deal. The units over here getting smacked as we are getting very close to another Bushido tier. But no income for Tunison at the moment is brutal. He's got to take out this Migdol Stronghold, but he's pulling back. Main base still, a huge amount of villagers going down there as this Bushi trying to take out the Avengers, but just not able to do so. Tunison pulling back. He's got himself a couple of Yati. He's got himself the Samurai. Over onto this side, those Avengers are pulling back as well. They can heal back up. The Daimyo getting split up to try and get over here. Do have the random camel riders in the corner there as well, causing some issues. 52 villagers to 40, as I don't think Tunison quite got what he wanted there, but 250 experience, and then he gets champion units. Over onto this side, the Avengers do spot the villagers here as the Yati and the Oni are in to defend. One Avenger down, two Avengers down, 100 favor in the bank for Tunison. What can he build though? As the Camel Riders coming back over onto this spot. A shrine getting popped up, but Tunison has to run yet again. He's got no resources. He can use himself the Smiting Gust to send the army away from this position and then try and break that. Of course, he's also got another potential Shrine of the Hunt here. He can move up onto this side and get himself some wood there. He can make one Udor here as well, as the villagers do get spotted over here. A couple of Yati Spearmen just going to be getting a couple of pokes off. He needs the rest of his army onto this position. Look at this. The gold mine, though, about to expire. This game is incredibly tense at the moment as the raid is just continuing in the main base from Kavoth. Over onto this spot. Villagers pulling back. Kavoth is starting to find himself pulling ahead, though, in military resources. However, another big fight to come down as those priests on the back, the numbers are starting to get scarily big. Kusanagi getting dropped into the main base, and Tunison taps out as he says the game is done. And Kavoth manages to somehow manage the win here in this game. I think he got so lucky. Tunison missing the move up onto this position was so big. And then the Avengers and the Camel Riders and the everything. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He manages to manage. Exactly. Words escape me at this moment. But Kavoth, he is your Pandora's Box 2 champion. He is your Pandora's Box 2 champion. Congratulations. He played an insanely good series here. These Avengers, this entire game here was so well orchestrated from Kavoth. And Tunison just could not quite manage to defend and put pressure on at the same time. He almost had it. There were moments here where Kavoth was on the deathbed, on his deathbed. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I have Kavoth here with me, ladies and gentlemen. Lol. I muted the microphone before. Anyway, say hi, Kavoth.
Hello, everyone.
Congratulations, my guy. That's an insane accomplishment here. What an absolute, I don't even know what to say, an absolute tournament for you. You didn't drop a single set. You took it for the winners bracket straight into the finals. You beat everyone, and that's it. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I was, I don't want to sound too overconfident, but I was fairly confident for the grand finals because I had played Tunison already. So I kind of knew what to expect versus him.
Yeah.
I was a bit more worried about facing Recon, even though I had been practicing versus him. But it worked out well. Tunison played really well. I know the score doesn't represent it, but these were very close games. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, we can walk through it, but I wanna jump back to, and I want to take the time here. I think we need to take the time because this is a crazy accomplishment here. This is your second S tier tournament victory so far. Let's take a walk through your tournament round, your run, and see what you can even remember of it. Your first
Sure.
game that happened in this tournament was versus Divine, and I want to
Mm.
touch on one of the coolest moments. I reckon was when you found the Hecka Gigantes Arcus combo in that game. Can you walk me through how that happened? For the players at home, it's on YouTube. Go check it out if you haven't. It's one of the sickest games that we've seen in the tournament. Frozen Waste, Oranos, Poseidon. What happened in that game way back then, and how did you figure that out in the moment, or did you just know that it was awesome?
So it was basically just like a whole lot of miss macro going on. So I had a lot of gold and a lot of favor. So the only unit I could really make was the Centimanus or the Heke, whatever
Sentimanus.
it's
Sorry,
called.
my bad.
The
Sentimanus. The new it's new age. New age.
Yeah, so that was the only unit I could make, and then I kind of fixed my macro up a bit, and then I saw on some streams, I think it was you and Jack, it
Yep.
might be, who used to heroize like the entire Arcus army, and I had done that a couple of times, and I realized that they don't really die if you use
Yes.
them well enough.
Yes.
Yeah, so I pretty much tried to replicate that, and it worked out really well. It's basically just, you use the Sentimentus special to keep his counter units off of your archers, so that's pretty much the gist of it. So yeah, it was basically a spur of the moment thing. It wasn't like
Yeah.
something that I had planned.
Yeah. It definitely seemed like it. I wonder like now that you know if it becomes even more part of your game plan. Anyways, let's move on. You then played one of your nemesis, right? This is Kavoth, your Kavoth. This is versus B. He's a player that has taken you out before, and he does scare you. And I find that when I watch your games versus him, you often make way more mistakes versus him than versus anyone else. What's the go there? Do you think it's mental, or is it
Yeah,
just the
I
B
have
impact?
no idea. I just play bad versus B. I think it's just usually I try to predict what the other player is doing, and versus B, you never really know what he's thinking. I don't even know if he knows what he's thinking.
Yeah.
In a good way, he plays really well.
Yes.
But so yeah, it's just hard to kind of predict what he's going to do. So it's hard to play versus him, for me at least.
Yeah. Okay. And
But I
then
think I lost the first 2 games, and
yes.
then I think I won the next 2.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a
That
reverse
was
sweep.
really difficult series, yeah.
It was super close. Yeah, super close. All of them. And then of course then we had you playing against Recon, which was another incredibly close series, which could have gone either way. We had that Budapest game, Loki versus Hades, that just was,
Yeah.
I don't know, that was probably the most, I don't want to say exciting series because it was, but it was like the most wild, messy series of the tournament. Can you walk me through that one before we jump into talk about the finals?
Yeah, so versus Recon, I wasn't really sure how to practice because I did not know his picks. I was predicting Kronos there, so I'd practice a lot versus Kronos, Hades or Zeus versus Kronos on
Mm.
Budapest, but he went Loki there, so I was a bit surprised. But I had played this matchup versus Soup. We were
Yes.
practicing a couple of times. I lost, I think, the first 2 times, but then I got the hang of it, so I knew in my mind what to do, how to play this. But yeah, it was a very messy game. Recon played that one really well. I
Yeah.
think I was watching your casting of it, and some of the things you said, if he had done those, I think he would have won for sure. Like the temple on the back
Yeah.
with the rampage and the fire giant. Yeah, I was really worried about that. That's the reason I sent my Ajax and the hoplites back there.
Yeah,
I was like, anything but that.
there's a lot of mess that can happen. It's so wonderful. Yeah, it's just wild. Like any this I think the one thing that can be said about this tournament run up until the finals was you could have dropped to the losers at any point, but you didn't. And then you got to play Tunison. And then we see this series against Tunison you played yesterday, which was 4-1 for you. What did that do for your mental? Like you got the win, then you watch him play against Recon and see a really close series there. How did that set you up for today?
So basically, for my series versus Tunison, for my series versus Recon, I practiced a lot with Tunison.
Yeah.
So he knew my picks and I knew his picks. So I think the reason my series with Tunison went so well was because I kind of surprised him a lot. I went for the picks that I had not practiced at all. So like Zeus on Frozen Continent,
Yeah.
that was like, I think that was my second or third game with Zeus.
Oh, really?
And I knew he would pick Thor there. And so I had practiced this exact matchup like 3 hours before my game with Tunison with Matador.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I knew exactly what to do. Like exactly, I just knew what to do, when to do it. So that worked out really well for me. It's
Yeah.
basically I just kind of knew his picks and I counted them. Is what I think happened.
That's I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal because he's like, here's the thing. And when you get to these finals, when you get to the final end of a tournament, from what I've seen, when I watch the Mister, when I watch Magic play in these finals, oftentimes it becomes, yes, your practice matters, but what actually matters a little bit more is can I get into the head of my opponent a little bit and start figuring out, is there something else to do here? Can we make it a different sort of thing and take my opponent kind of out of what he's used to? I think you did a really good job of
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, I think Tunison was expecting me to go Rather, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Either Ra or some, I don't know, some China, Fuxi, sorry, Fuxi, because that was the one I had been practicing a lot with him on Frozen Continent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Zeus just caught him off guard a lot. And Zeus is pretty strong there, surprisingly.
Yeah. I was, who'd have thought Zeus on a water map is good? All right. And
Free
okay.
mobility. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's is this gonna work for me or not? I wanna it doesn't matter. Let's walk through this series. So this is the grand finals. First game, Gaia versus Shenong. You played a new Noir versus Gaia on this exact map yesterday against Leto. What changed here? Did you just want to just throw something different at him and pick the Shenong, or yeah, what was the thoughts going behind that pick?
Yeah, it was the same reasoning. I figured, since he lost to my Nuwa yesterday, he would have had, practice something or come up with something to counter that. So I didn't want to go into a matchup that he had prepared specifically for.
Yeah.
So I just tried to basically throw him off balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, Shenong was my last pick. And I don't know if I should say this, but whatever. Tunison usually goes for like his first pick in the
Uh-huh.
first game. So I kind of knew. So I was fine with throwing my last pick versus his first pick. I didn't care if I lost that, honestly.
Yeah, fair
I was
enough.
more than fine with.
Fair enough. Okay, and our next one was Oranos versus Set. Now, this game, I thought you were. Oh, I think the strategy which I got to say, the strategy which Tunison went for there could not have been more Boit strategy than I've ever seen in my entire life. And I have to say, it's never worked for me when I've done it versus you. Uh, how do you always know what's going on?
It's just scouting. I'm sure you saw it. You were casting, but I deleted my Promethean, so I was just looking all over the map. I wanted to know what he was doing. So he was one TC. He
Yeah.
went heroic through Scarab, and he got the relic, the pendant. I don't know what the name is,
Yeah,
but
the
the
Mythian
extra
relic. Yeah.
bonus. Yeah. So the only alternative option that was viable was that he was gonna shifting sands. So as soon as I saw that, I just built around my base,
Yeah.
built around my town center, the buildings, and that was pretty easy. Also with Atlantean, I'm like pretty comfortable with anything, so
Yeah.
it's fine. Like I could adapt.
Yeah.
I think if I was like any other civ, I would have lost that for sure.
Yeah, I think the fact you managed to snipe the set there with Oranos, considering you didn't have Gaia or Kronos, right, is really, really good. Because while you could probably win against any of his other picks with Oranos, if you can get his set out
Yeah.
you get that matchup and you win that one, then that's like a big win, I guess, in a series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his set is really good. When I had two bans, it was one of my ban.
Yeah.
So over here, I think I banned Kronos.
Yeah.
So I figured, I had to make sure I got a good civ versus his set. So I was very happy when I got Uranus versus set.
Yeah. Okay. Our next. Well, let's jump over the Zeus versus Thor. We've touched on that one. It was a little bit different here, but I still think Tunison didn't quite. I mean, I think he was fine. He took a fight. Actually, let's talk about it. He took a fight. Flaming Weapons versus Bronze Restoration on Frozen Continent. How surprised are you that that's what happened there?
How surprised am I that I
Yeah.
won? I think he kind of needed to take the fight, no? Because he wanted favor for the gold. At least that's what I think his reasoning was.
I don't think he did.
But I mean,
I think
ideally,
he
he
could have
should
just.
not
I
have.
think he could have just wandered back into his base and then turned and fought you. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was not a good fight to take. But I mean, I thought that his reasoning was that he wanted the favor, but yeah.
Okay.
But
Alright.
it's a good strategy, though.
Yeah.
Thor can be really strong there if you can just sit in the base and spam Dwarven Gold Mines. I think that was his third one, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, he used 3 in total, I think, something like that. Okay. Then we had Fuxi versus Tsukuyomi. This game was messy, but how you didn't
Yeah.
lose like anything, and then he lost everything. It's just like everything was just crumbling. A White Horse cavalry just broken, or what's going on?
I was very, very annoyed at that. I made such a stupid mistake that game. I let him kill the elephant outside the
Oh, yeah.
AC range.
Yeah.
That was so stupid. I was but yeah, anyways, so I basically just, I was kind of annoyed, so I was like, I'm gonna raid him to death, and that's what I did. And
Yeah.
I was like, gotta get the payback for that.
I almost
But
don't
it's
want to.
pretty much
Yeah,
just, yeah, White Horse is pretty OP though, if I'm gonna be honest.
they're fast, they're strong, they distract. I think yeah, once you get to the mythic age, then everything kind of gets sorted out because you get. Well, I actually sort of surprised you went how to. I think it was like smart, but the comp of just getting into Qinglong so that he can't use Herdman anymore is brutal. So but it worked out, so it doesn't matter. Wait, do you have
Yeah, I
Qinglong
was
as new
just
one?
worried that I might
Yes.
like, I was worried that I might just, lose on that gold mine because that was
Yeah.
the only one that I had, so I had to make sure I could hold that
Yeah,
location.
true. Makes sense. Okay, we see the Demeter Freyr game.
And
Okay. Great strategy, but just build a village center and do it. And then you're fine.
my reasoning was apparently I did not know that you could not use Meadow while you use Wither, because
Ah,
my entire plan was to use Meadow and just like secure that forward fortress, but apparently it didn't let me cast that god power till Wither ended. And
yeah.
why does Wither last for like 60 seconds?
It's to
So
stop
I just had to go
yeah.
back and
It's to stop your Arcadia
yeah.
meta. That's why. It's to just to screw with you. That's why.
Yeah, maybe I
Ah.
should have practiced a bit.
I love that. I love that. Maybe I should have practiced a bit. You hear that, everyone? Demeter is going to be. She's going to come and dominate. Just don't you worry. And then obviously we had that Ra versus Susanoo game. What an insane finish! Couldn't have been more. Couldn't have been more exciting. Avengers, Oni, Camel Rider raids, sneaky gold mines that barely get Migdols up, etc. There's not
Yeah,
much
I
more to
think
say.
Tunison had that one.
It was
I
close.
think he
Yeah.
just kind of let me get the gold mine in the middle for no reason. I
Yeah.
had no units. I think I had like 3 units or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. I think it was a win. I'm going to give it a win for the Oni, but also a win for the Avengers. I'll give it a win for both.
Well, they are surprisingly very good. I was very surprised at how good they are. They just don't die.
They don't die. They do not die. But the Avengers did work, and they don't. They didn't appear to die either, to be completely honest. So, yeah, that's the story.
Actually, they died pretty fast, but they did kill a lot of villagers.
They did kill a lot of stuff. They're glass cannons, hey. All right, Kavath, we're gonna move into our next event for today, which is the free for all. Huge congratulations to you as well. I'm sure you want to sit back and relax. If you do want to participate, I believe there's one spot remaining. I can understand if you don't because you just played a crazy amount of games. What's your feeling?
No, I think I'm gonna pass. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, guys. Huge shout out to Kavath and his amazing tournament run here, and congratulations to winning Pandora's Box 2. And for anyone else,
Thank you so much.
you're the best. All right, let's see ya.
All right. See ya. GG's. Thank you.